sorry, we're going to talk about like. Don't worry.
Go on.
No,
we can
do. No, you know what? It'll be a good transition from Liverpool to Arsenal.
Surprise. Surprise content.
Yeah.
Surprise content.
So again, Chelsea, Man U, Liverpool, Arsenal.
Why are we starting with Chelsea?
Yeah.
Just because the team that we're going with last is going to be the team that allows us to link into how strong is the Premier League.
Why do you think we should start with?
Not talking about
It
the Carabao
flows-
Cup.
We normally start with it on the team who played today. Isn't it?
Oh, okay.
No Carabao Cup talk.
I mean, yeah, sure.
To be honest, I don't really care.
I don't know.
No one cares, innit? And
We can touch on it briefly, and the fact nobody actually cares. We usually start with the team that plays today, but I think if we're going to talk about you lot last, it allows us to then flow into the discussion of how strong is the Premier League, linking back to how the Premier League clubs have done in Europe, Hall of Fame thing. Dan can do his rule changes stuff. Then listeners' questions.
Dan's passionate about this rule change stuff.
I'm not even interested.
Fan, he's got to be.
I started reading the article. I shut it down. Boring, man.
I don't even
Boring.
As a Chelsea fan, that's when all these balls are going.
But we could come up with our own rule changes.
You
I've got a
asked,
few.
like, bro, is there anything else happening in football?
Don't get it.
I saw the article.
Alright, cool. Let's go. We always figure it out anyway. Cool.
All right, man.
Nice. Good evening and welcome to another episode of Touchline Fracas. I'm joined by a diverse panel in terms of the clubs we support. Lewis.
Not by race.
I mean, there's two races here.
Black and white.
They don't hear colour, man.
Yeah.
We don't see it either. We don't hear it and we don't see it. Lewis, good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, man.
How do you feel not being in the host seat?
Well, no, I don't mind. You know,
I've already been trying to kind of muscle in on my territory, telling me what topics to cover in the order.
It's just habit.
He was questioning. He was like, "Oh, is that what we're gonna do? We're gonna start with that?"
It's just force of habit. It's just force of habit, isn't it?
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm sitting cool.
You're good, yeah?
Yeah, I'm,
Sitting comfy.
just looking at Julian.
Yeah?
Yeah, just looking
Even
at
his
Julian.
intro's longer than a normal guest. Normally it's just and then you keep it moving.
Wrap it up.
Dan, how
What's
you
up,
doing, mate?
man? This is how you do an intro. I'm doing good.
Looking very hoodish today. What's going on? Very unlike you.
I don't know. I went to the gym. Is that okay?
Nah, sweet, man.
All right.
It's good.
Shit.
Julian eventually found his way to the studio.
I did.
You good?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Well, we'll find out how good. Great. So let's start with this weekend's results, as we usually do. Dan, it was a big game, I guess, for Chelsea, because obviously with everything that's happening, there's a clear push for the top 4 or 5, depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
In response to that, Chelsea drew 2-2 with Bournemouth. What were your feelings on the performance? What you did well, what you didn't do well? Break it down for us.
So, like, obviously, Bournemouth, I think, are one of our bogey teams. Like,
so,
I don't know if you guys remember last season. We got slapped 4-0.
Why do you lose that?
I don't know, but like that slapping hurt me, like, because I think it was 0-0 at half time. So you know when you think you're in the game and you can't see it coming. But for some reason, especially at Bournemouth, I don't know if with you guys, but they call it the Vitality Stadium, and for some reason, they have a lot of mad energy. And you know, like they're a good footballing team too. So like, I don't know, starting a game, you know, even I was kind of feeling, you know, that when you're feeling just not on it. I was feeling not on it, but I can see from the Chelsea players that, you know, they're not really on it. But obviously, Bournemouth kind of started like a train. We fresh off a slapping from Bayern Munich too.
You think there was a bit of a hangover from that?
Well, kind of, but it's just like we haven't been good for a long while. Like it's been like wins then losses, then wins then losses. So I can't keep happy too long because I know that L's coming around soon. So obviously, just fresh off the slapping from Bayern Munich, I was thinking, cool, a W's coming around, like because just following the pattern. But whenever I see a pattern, it kind of fucks up. But Lampard, we played a 3-4-3. At this stage of the season, I think a lot of our injuries, we've got a lot of injuries to young players. Obviously, it's the youth project season.
Okay.
But
what young players specifically do you think you're missing? Like, who would have probably started this game?
Well, Tammy didn't start, so Giroud was playing.
Yeah.
We had Pedro playing, and Pedro. This is what I'm saying. With Lampard, it just feels like he keeps on trying to bring all of these people fresh out of the cold at the business end of the season and expects. Bro,
results, yeah.
For ages, we ain't seen Pedro. He brought him out. That whole kind of left side. Obviously, Alonso came in, and we'll talk about him because he slapped 2 goals. But on that whole left side, we had Tomori, who hadn't played a game for ages.
Yeah.
He was
I could tell.
Because he was injured, or
no, not even because he was injured. Not even because he was injured.
Frank hasn't been a fan of his recently.
But this is what I'm saying. This is my issue. So, Frank has clearly preferred Tammy and Batshuayi over Giroud. And what I was saying to Lewis earlier is I feel like Frank is too kind of connected to what people are saying on Twitter or just in the general thing because
it tends to be like when people suggest something and nothing happens.
Bruv, like basically an article came out.
So he's got his ears to his streets, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got that's
For
what
the
I'm
wrong
saying.
reasons.
Yeah.
We're one of the only clubs with like our coaching staff on Twitter, and so like. But it's not just the Twitter people, it's like the journalists too, because an article coming out saying, why isn't Giroud playing? And he said that Batshuayi hasn't had... Giroud played one game and goes, Giroud in one game has had more shots on target than Batshuayi has had in 15 games or whatever. And he had this whole article about why isn't Lampard playing Giroud. And then Giroud became our... number two. And then this week it was, why isn't Tomori not playing? And he hasn't played for ages. And then Tomori comes in and it's like, bruv, you can't crowdsource management.
How did Tomori do?
Tomori was horrible.
Yeah.
And it's not on him.
Wow.
It's not on him. It's just that he hasn't played for ages. And that whole side, even if it's just Tomori coming in, but on Tomori's side, it was Pedro who hasn't been playing.
Yep.
And then it was Alonso, obviously, Alonso, and the Chelsea fans in this pod haven't been fond of Alonso.
Yep.
But it's like a lot of people are saying, give him a new contract.
Has he matched Williams' output for you?
He has. He's matched. But then Alonso's always been one of our best strikers, even like better than...
Just stick him up front.
Yeah,
this is what I'm saying.
There's a period in the game where Meads like, just stick him up, literally tweeted,
100%.
just stick him up front.
He's got one of a left foot, man.
Yes,
Bruv,
getting
even his
a
right
straight
foot.
separation from the defenders, though.
Even his right foot is sick.
Let him clap it, innit?
100%.
Let the thing go.
He's got
That's
techers.
what Bruno does.
He's got techers, but he's only got striking techers. Don't get it twisted.
yeah.
When you have to say it, you got to put an
He's
asterisk on it.
gone a right cross. I remember him.
No. Sorry.
All right.
No, I'm a Chelsea fan.
It's
That one.
tense.
But here's the thing. Last season under Sarri, I don't know if you guys remember, but at the beginning of the season, Alonso was clapping goals. And Sarri actually said he can be one of the best left backs in the world.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
But the problem is, he said the only thing he needs to do is become a bit better defensively. So making him better defensively, he stopped scoring goals because obviously he had to kind of stay back.
Yeah.
But as a wing back, this is one of the reasons why now we're switching to a 3-4-3 because as a wing back, he's not really good at going up, but obviously he's up there more to score goals. So he was clapping goals. Like, I just feel like Lampard, bruv, like he keeps on switching the formation. He's switching the defenders. Giroud's come back in, and then when he doesn't have a game, you're thinking, okay, he's out now. I don't know, man. It's a bit of a mess.
You think Lampard's feeling the pressure a bit?
100% he's feeling the pressure. Like you can tell by the changes he's making. He's feeling the pressure. Like when
it's not good, is it? 45 points in 28 games.
we've conceded 39 goals now. We've got 10 games to go. That was the same
I think
amount.
that's more than Arsenal, and that's
100%.
astounding.
And do you know what pisses me off? It's like whenever everybody's on defense mode when it comes to Lampard because they're like, oh, we've lost Hazard. What's Hazard got to do with conceding 39 goals? Do you know what I mean?
You've conceded 36, so yeah.
Yeah, we conceded, and last season we conceded 39 in the 38 games.
I think I saw I didn't see a stat. I actually looked at the games. Like, you guys haven't won back-to-back games since like October or something.
we ain't winning back-to-back, but this is what I'm saying.
That's all comps.
That's what I'm saying. But at least
Scary.
when we win, I know what's coming next. Do you know what I mean? At
Because
least I'm not going to get my...
Because I was saying to Dan, I reckon Chelsea could get a result against Bayern.
I said, nah. What I
So
say?
the first 5 minutes,
you were questioning the odds, innit?
And I came
yeah,
back.
I was like, no, the odds look a bit mad.
Yeah.
But
And he's like, but you're at home. I was like, yeah, that makes it worse, bro.
yeah,
Like, literally.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah.
that was a proper pamming though. Jesus.
It was.
No, we'll get onto that. So I guess things aren't really looking up for you guys. I mean, Ruben's back.
Yeah, he's back, but apparently he's playing another under 23 game, and he's been on the bench.
For a while.
He's been on the bench, but he hasn't come on yet.
Okay.
So, and I think Lampard does want to bring him on in a competitive environment, but because we keep on losing, like he can't come on.
Just
because,
come on
like,
and have a little calm run out.
yeah, we want to be winning, but like, so he's been on the bench for a bit. I think he's playing another under 23 game because Lampard expected him to come on by now, but we've just had to fight for it so much. But we can't rely on someone that's injury prone to save our season.
I think this season for him is probably just him getting back into the motions.
Who's your
and
defensive back line yesterday? Because I didn't watch
So
it.
yesterday,
Christensen,
it was Tomori, Christensen, and then Aspie, which isn't it's not a tall backline. And when you're playing against Bournemouth, and that's what I'm saying. Bournemouth just seems so well put together. I don't understand because I checked their form and they're losing. But whenever they play against
I
Chelsea,
think it's because they're getting some players back now. Because Joshua King injured for
Joshua King
and
was back.
They finally got a striker to kind
And
of help.
Billing looks good as well. Like he looks good, but it's like at least they've got two players that can score in their front line that actually like feels like strikers. So when they're crossing it in, like they had 2 crosses. Like obviously, I don't know if you guys know, but our kind of whole strategy is crossing it into the box.
Yeah,
but it's mad because like we're doing bare crossings and not scoring. Then the other team.
Who's the other one back on?
So we had Reece James,
James.
and then we had.
I feel like
You know it's
knew
Reece
that.
James.
I know. I swear that I
Then why
actually
did
didn't know.
you-
I'm
You
asking.
smiled like,
Yeah.
No, I just.
I mean, it hasn't been a good weekend for your boy either, so.
Yeah, I know, but it's
Yeah.
just.
Yeah. And with Reece James, this is what I'm saying. I keep it real in it. With Reece James as a wing back specifically, I feel like it's because our whole thing is crossing it, inshallah. He's all like, let's get forward. And they've been getting in, especially between that wide centre back and then the wing back on both sides. On both sides. Yeah, on both sides. Like in fact, it was more on the left side. Like they just
That middle wing area, yeah.
Yeah.
So not a good look all round. I guess we can go on to our game today. Off the back.
You don't want to talk about the Bayern Pamin?
No, that's not the weekend result.
the host?
It's the weekend result.
Who's the
Listen,
host?
I'm hosting.
Who's the host?
The weekend results.
Yeah.
We finished.
This
with,
is what I'm
why am I
saying.
having to describe the
But
itinerary?
this is the type of
I'm
leader I
having
want
to
at Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? You can make your
We
own
will get
decisions.
onto that.
You know, I just wanted to, talk a little bit about Serge.
We will get onto that, Lewis. Don't worry.
Calm
Don't
down,
worry.
bro.
What a game.
Cool. So yeah, we'll get onto that, boys. All right, cool. So us today
Sorry, man. Sorry.
with Chelsea drawing against Bournemouth, it was a good opportunity, which seems to happen, like you say, every couple of weeks for us to close the gap. Unfortunately, we were away to, I think, what's a decent Everton side. They got good players. Calvert-Lewin scoring. Richarlison.
Has that guy ever scored a good
DCL.
goal?
Nah, he's a scrappy striker, man.
Didn't he score?
Archie Bargy, that's what he calls it. Archie Bargy, British football.
Apparently, like he was scored a scrappy. De Gea must have made a mistake. I wasn't watching, but
Basically,
You
De Gea
seem to have
smacked
not
it
watched
against him.
any of the games,
Yeah.
but
Wait,
you've got quite a smirk on your face.
I'm just asking the question.
I'm just saying,
No,
but
I know you're asking the question, but you keep with the caveat of I didn't watch it, but I heard the game.
And-
you guys need to paint a description of all of the games.
Well,
I
okay,
genuinely
cool.
didn't watch
well,
this
we
weekend,
invite
apart
you on
from
a pod
Yeah,
to talk about football.
I'm sorry, but I didn't watch any. Fam, my head's kept. You've been watching football.
That is true. That is true.
Right, cool. So I'll explain it to you. So very early on in the game, must have been like the first minute or two. The ball comes back to De Gea. He goes to kick it out, and Calvert-Lewin's closing him down as strikers usually do. Some keepers will just then make a little cheeky pass, or they'll like nutmeg the player and then do what they want to do. Instead, De Gea kicked it, and Calvert-Lewin stretched his leg out.
He didn't even really have to stretch
You
his
know
leg
what,
out.
that's
He
such
just
a-
kind of
that's such a
put a leg out.
goal.
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
it.
he know way.
Calvert-Lewin
Doesn't score good goals.
Kick Calvert-Lewin, and it went in. First half, I think we were pretty good, comfortably the better side.
You thought Everton would have come to me?
No, we were.
Oh yeah.
we were. Yeah, comfortably the better side. Bruno scored what was a fortuitous goal. I imagine he scored quite a few of those at Sporting.
That
Where
was
it was just
Portuguese level goalkeeping. Yeah, people want to talk about Portuguese league being farmer league. That Pickford is a farmer. He's generally a farmer.
The body of a farmer and the agility
Yeah.
of one too.
How was Fernandez's goal?
It was on the left, in middle wing, left hand side, so that areas that you kind of see Coutinho
he
and
does.
Pogba in.
Yeah,
He-
one of his
him
10 pop-offs a game.
Oh, he popped off.
Yeah, he
so
popped off from far, but-
I
outside the
rate
box.
Fernandez. I actually really like him. Like
He's a gunslinger, so you can
Yeah.
tell. I think he's joined a team where, because like Rashford's out, Pogba's out, he's kind of just come in and he's doing what he had to do at Sporting. Like
Carry.
everything
Yeah.
goes through you,
Yeah.
which means just do the most damage you can. So
Yeah.
half his passes are like trying to split the defense.
Yeah.
But sometimes you've got 5 players in front of you, so they're getting blocked out. Like you said, he's popping off.
He's doing well.
Yeah,
He's
I
doing
like
well.
him.
He's,
I
doing,
like
he's
him.
doing well. It reminds me, and he's got hustle as well.
Yeah, he's got a bit of bustle.
And you're saying that the keeping was poor, but if you don't shoot,
You don't
that's
score.
what I'm saying. Like you can.
A lot of players
actually
ain't
catch-
gonna shoot from
Yeah.
I actually rate Bruno Fernandes the way he's coming and not settled into league because it's still early. It's still early,
But he's not looking
yeah,
rattled.
you know when like you sign someone and then fans like to give him a couple games but I like
He's
that.
just been able to
yeah,
slot in.
come
Yeah,
from Portugal straight into the league. None of that adapting to the intensity stuff. I rate it.
None of that. Give it.
Yeah,
He reminds me a little bit of
Ooh,
Lampard.
Who
Oh,
indirecting
popping
there?
off.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
We'll talk on that, yeah?
He's got that kind of mentality where he's just gonna get on the ball and
Yeah.
just strike. And I don't mind
I
it.
don't like Lampard, man.
You didn't like Lampard as a player?
Other than that, Martial, obviously, there was rumours about him not playing. He played, and he probably shouldn't have. He was poor.
He was trash.
But you
Greenwood-
called it before, innit? You said,
Yeah.
Yerry Mina. There was a bit of debate whether he's AFCON or Copa America.
Yerry
but
Mina didn't actually
he's,
play.
he's like
Yerry
he's a
Mina
bit of
came off
both,
the
isn't
bench
he?
today, so he wasn't even a Yerry Mina.
Oh, did he not? Oh, yeah, he didn't play, did he? No.
He just wasn't very good. Greenwood was one of his poorer appearances for us. Matic was pretty good, and I think
was good.
if it wasn't
the
for
bar.
Matic, we probably would have conceded a couple more
Matic
goals.
has been good, quite good.
He's been
Since he's
pretty
come
solid
back.
since he's come in. Because what we say on Mugger, you probably don't listen to it, but what we say on Mugger is the fact that
actually do.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
I do.
So you've heard what we say about Matic, then?
Yeah, like well, not specifically.
You only had to say that.
I do listen. No, I actually do listen. Like, shout out Randy, Boxhead Light. He done his thing today.
He called it back. He called it back.
Cool. So the thing about Matic is because he's gone so long without playing, he's fresh. So he's coming and he's not because remember that Matic, he always starts the season strongly.
100%.
Gets to December and his legs go.
So you reckon Ollie's had a different approach
No,
here?
it
Like
wasn't.
start him in January.
It wasn't on purpose.
Injuries are
Did
just
they take McTominay for him to come?
it was McTominay getting injured that then meant Matic had to play more. Yeah, again, he was solid today. Second half, they obviously got a bit of a bollocking from the manager, so they came out with a lot more gumption. Sigurdsson hit the post. Poor, though. It was a poor half from both teams. I think, the 1-1 draw is probably
Bit of a madness at the end, though.
Yeah, with the
Ogalo and then the Bisaga.
That wasn't a farmer's save from
No, that was quality.
Pickford.
But bad finish from Ogalo.
It took him ages to get onto it. If he was younger, maybe like 10 years younger, so 29,
Yeah.
he would have like
I saw
bicycle.
the stars in his eyes when he
But that
glistening when he
happens
saw it.
every game. Against Chelsea, he had a moment like that. I think when he came on against Club Brugge in the 1-1 draw, he had a moment like that. And again, where he gets a chance where he can steal the headline, but he doesn't. So yeah, he should have tucked, but Pickford saved it.
Yeah.
Then we go back up the other end.
Straight away, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go around the table. Was that a correct decision?
Yes, because even though you could say maybe 95% sure that De Gea isn't getting there, the 5% is still in doubt. So therefore, it's an
He's
interference.
interfered. What do you think, Dan?
As a Chelsea fan who had a vested interest in the result, I hated it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can see it being given either way.
Yeah.
I think either way it was given, people complained.
Yeah.
So I think the ref copped out because I would have given it.
Would you? Just as not as a Chelsea fan, just as a
No, just as
As a
like,
referee.
Did the ref
objectively.
cop out though? I don't think the ref copped out, did he? That he got told to not give it.
Someone copped out.
Yeah.
Someone copped out because
the-
when it came down to it, you know that there was no interference. Like
Isn't the fact that he had to move himself out of the way, interfering in the goalkeeper's line?
who Calvert-Lewin.
It wasn't. Was it Calvert-Lewin on the floor?
No, Richarlison.
Yeah,
wasn't
it was Richarlison. Yeah, that is interfering in the
I
play.
saw him just sitting down.
He
But
moved his foot.
He had to move his feet out of the way for the ball to go underneath them,
Potentially.
in within De Gea's.
De Gea's never getting there.
But here's my
De
thing:
Gea's
it's like,
never
you know, with
getting there,
offside,
but-
you play on, and then like, that's what I'm saying. So goalkeepers need to anticipate that shit, innit? I don't know. I just feel
Not
like
if he's in an offside position.
You need to anticipate a player being in an offside position.
you need to try to save the shit. Try to save the shit. If you don't save it,
If Richarlison's not there, he's not saving it.
And
He-
it's-
this
he-
is
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
is-
That's my
is-
issue. He's
Yeah,
not
but
that's
that
the-
is the doubt where you follow the letter of the law. You didn't watch the game, did you?
I didn't watch the game. Sorry.
Cool. So yeah, I think this top 4/top 5 race.
What do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was a correct decision.
Okay.
I think this top 4/top 5 race is just gonna be who the least shit.
Who's-
The
but
least-
it's like that every year, though,
that's
isn't
where
it?
it's been.
I actually can't believe how
It's been
Chelsea,
like that for the best part of a
how Chelsea
decade.
managed
Do
to-
you think so? I think.
Yeah. When's the last time you had a good top 4 race where it was like 4 quality teams?
I don't think they're necessarily 4 quality teams, but it was split into tiers where the top 4 teams were clearly a level of, like
Yeah.
this top 4 battle going all the way down to 10th.
Yeah.
If you look
Yeah,
at the
it's
points,
I genuinely think the
that's
last.
half the league.
But that's kind of because of Man City's
Yeah.
predicament. Because if Man City weren't banned from European football,
then it would be 2 spaces. Because
Then-
even Leicester have been kind of dragged into it. They're only
Yeah.
5 points ahead of you.
yeah,
guys
but,
now.
but I don't think Arsenal are not in a top 4 battle if Man City aren't getting the ban. So you can cut Arsenal off, you can cut Sheffield United off, you can cut
you
Wolves, you
think
can cut
that's
Everton.
kinda
But what Mario is still saying is still very compressed.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
it is. It
it's
is.
mad
yeah.
I genuinely think
compressed.
that the last time it was like a proper top 4 race was like from like 5th to 3rd was maybe even the season Arsenal just missed out on the last day when we got it. That was probably the last
I
time
don't
can
remember that, man. Every season
Yeah.
seems the same with Arsenal.
See, like
So I
that's
don't
what
know.
that's what Liverpool fans used
No,
to have to
no,
remember. I
yeah,
know what I'm
that
saying,
was
but
the
obviously now,
last-
yeah.
Because I remember that was the last time.
Yeah,
So I
it will
think
be,
that
will
that
still.
race is. I can't even confidently pick who's gonna
You know,
get those last.
I've
2
been
spots.
since Bruno's come in though.
Yeah.
I think you guys have got to be one of the favourites
Why?
to nick it. Just because I liked your first half today. I really
Yeah,
did.
100%,
You weren't able
but-
to sustain it.
Yeah.
But
which is
also, like,
worrying.
if you look at every single, I think there's been 5 matches where United have the chance to kind of like make some ground on
Yeah.
Chelsea, and every single time it was after the match,
Yeah.
but they failed to.
I know we're gonna get into it later, but I think because we're talking about the quality of the Prem, right? I think what you're seeing is there's just such an ability from every team to take
That's what I'm
points
saying.
from everyone.
Yeah.
And you could say that suggests
stronger.
a lack of quality, but it also
that's-
could
that's
suggest
more quality.
more quality.
That's more quality.
You know, there are so many players for every team that can hurt you. We saw that. We'll move
Yeah.
I
on to that
think so. I
yesterday.
think
But
Elijah tweeted, we're talking about lack of quality in the Prem, but I'm hoping certain teams go
Five
down. So I
teams
can
go
nab,
down.
so you can nab players. Yeah, of course, of course. There's a player for every team that you'd likely have
playing for your
Yeah,
team.
literally.
man.
at least in the squad.
Everyone,
At
yeah.
least in the
Yeah,
squad,
yeah.
you know.
So that says something about the level.
You wouldn't have had that 10 years ago. You're not going to take Dean Holdsworth from Bolton, are you? So it's-
Not at all, man. Julian.
What's good, man?
Hello. So obviously we're March now.
March.
Liverpool fans have come and go throughout the season. 99% of the time they're coming in off a W.
Yeah, man.
Probably when you said to Ellis, "Yeah, I'll come on the pod."
I was thinking
Yeah.
easy dub.
W.
Yeah, easy dub.
Watford,
Like,
one of the
well,
worst
Easy
teams,
day at
innit?
the office.
Yeah,
easy day at the
that's a
office.
W to me.
Yeah.
the W hotel. No
Yeah,
W
yeah,
hotel
no,
today.
no,
No
no.
W hotel today.
Everybody-
Okay.
Instead,
Quickly.
you got pammed.
Pammed.
You got absolutely pammed.
was-
What's the reaction? 24 hours later.
Do you know what? Believe it or not, the Invincible chat.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
At first,
I don't want you to lie.
No, I'm not gonna lie. At first, it was like, can't lie, fam. It's paying, cuz like, it's
Good,
paying, like,
good.
because like going into the fixtures that we had, I was thinking from the way we've been performing, and for us to maintain this streak for so long, let's not act like anyone. Like, I haven't experienced a loss since last January, so
Yeah.
let's not
In the Prem.
in the Prem. So so I'm not gonna act like it didn't burn, but honestly, like for me, it was just the performance. More like on an actual Liverpool level, it was actually the performance that.
What do you think it was? Because they were on to you from the start.
Yeah, they were on to us. I honestly thought because it was similar to West Ham. It's just that I felt like West Ham were aware, and they're obviously maybe a poorer side than Watford. I don't know. Jury's still out because they're both in
I
relegation
think
zone.
Watford are probably a more competent side
Yeah.
at this moment in time.
Yeah, so going to the game, like we wasn't at home, so we didn't have the fans to rattle the opposition. But even then, West Ham was still able to do all that. But Watford, they were on us. Like I feel like I do feel like rotation has been poor from Klopp, and I've said this on obviously you guys probably don't listen, but Klopp and Fracas,
don't
but
listen.
yeah, you see. But I've said it like the rotation from Klopp this season has been quite poor, and it's starting to show. Like you can't keep playing Mane, Salah, Firmino literally every single game and only rest them for the odd Carling Cup, Carabao Cup, FA Cup game, and expect maximum results. I've been saying it all season that we
He
haven't.
did it last season, though.
Yeah, but you know,
Well, you
last
said
season,
no.
last season, and
Last
this
season's
season,
last season.
exactly. Like, that,
See
and
the name.
Do you know what though? I was never ever worried that Liverpool's invincibility was gonna.
okay.
To be honest,
I was
Oh, you
never
didn't
ever,
think they were going to go this season?
never,
Yeah, to
never. Because the thing is, you're performing like a side that could get beat. I don't get that air of invincibility, but
I think the City one, that
was
Yes.
they
more
were
real.
stamping on
because
teams
they
week
were
in, week
smashing
out.
teams week in week out. But for example, the previous game that you played against Watford at Anfield, the first. If I'm right,
They
I'm right,
pammed
us.
they
Yeah.
They pammed
pammed
us.
you.
Yeah.
Sarr missed about 3 chances in the
Yeah.
first 25,
they
30
did.
minutes.
Yeah.
So you've had a lot of games this season where, you can't honestly say Liverpool were,
But-
deserved to win.
but
But, that's the
then-
reason they're winning the title.
But
right?
the
Because-
Arsenal Invincibles had those games, but you turned them into draws.
But they've done it.
Yes.
But
But-
they've done
no,
it.
no,
I
But
know,
they've done it. That's
but
the
but
issue.
But
That's
Lewis,
what
but
happens.
Lewis said he couldn't envisage you doing it because there's a lot of games that were touch and go. But what I'm saying is, you
don't
had
think-
touch and go games too.
I was pretty young when the Invincible. So as an Arsenal fan,
That's
when
for most of us.
yeah, well, when you're much older than me, but when it was going on, did you have that air? You're like,
No,
you
because
know more.
Dan is
How
right.
you
There
judging
were
it,
there were
fam?
touch
You're
and
much
go.
older than me.
There were touch and go games in the Arsenal invincible season, but
It got
when you
done.
have people like Vieira in midfield instead of Henderson, when
But
you
Henderson
actually,
wasn't
you
in
got-
midfield.
but actually,
Thierry
yeah,
Henry
but
up front
actually-
instead of Firmino, Dennis Bergkamp instead of Firmino. These are.
But actually, back to the question that you asked, the reason why I felt we lost was, believe it or not, Jordan Henderson plays now, even
Okay,
though.
yeah, let's
as
talk
much
on that because good point. I'm glad you raised it. There's been a lot of Player of the Year chat re Henderson, and the vast majority of football fans have been like,
No.
including Liverpool fans, you're having a laugh. First question I want to ask is, where do you stand on that?
No, he should not be Player of the Year at all.
Okay,
He's not even
so
Player of the Year at my
Back
club.
to the point that I jumped in on. What were you going to say about Henderson?
I was gonna say, yeah. As much as like I fault Liverpool fans and other fans fault his capabilities. Like he's actually able to give that air of security to the team as the captain.
100%.
I feel like there's been games, as you said, like games where it's been touch and go. Like believe it or not, Henderson is the one that's like keeping it together, telling everyone to concentrate, even screaming at Van Dijk to sort out the defense. For example, games like Aston Villa where we was away, games like that, like where we needed that that drive. But I don't think
it's not the same team without him.
Yeah, it's not the same because Van Dijk is a leader in the defense, but when you're playing against that absolute joke man Lovren, which I can get into for an hour if I needed to, but I won't. If you're playing against a joke man Lovren, there's only so much you can do. Like, for example, the goal that Sarr scored, I think it was his second goal. The one where, fair enough. I'm not even going to lie. Van Dijk was quite poor and has been poor for a couple of games, but that moment there where Sarr...
Let's dive into that.
But that goal where Sarr was through in on goal.
Yeah.
If Gomez was there, that's their type of partnership. Gomez will sweep that, at least get to the ball and cause some sort of physical presence and try to sweep up or cause an issue for Sarr, which will probably throw him off as well. But Lovren, trugging along behind him, it's comfy. It's a set.
What about Matip? How come is he?
He's injured. He's injured, so he wasn't playing. So man, it was poor. Like I can't lie, we was poor all round. No, I can't think of anyone that can come out with the game.
Fabinho?
Nope.
No,
He was one of the poorest.
That's why I said. That's why.
But you know what it is.
Reece James, me. I'm a back.
But you know what it is, Fabinho's certified in it. Like,
hasn't he been quite poor since he's come back though?
From injury,
yeah.
So I'm not gonna be too harsh on him because come back from injury. It's not.
How long's he been back now? This about a month, no?
2 games, two full games. I think he came on against
Atletico, full game.
Yeah, he came on against Wolves.
So what about the game against West Ham?
He played against West Ham. He played against Aston Villa.
Okay.
I'm not sure actually. I don't know. I'm not sure about Aston
This
Villa.
sounds like 5 games.
So
Let's call it a month.
Yeah, call it a month. Yeah.
So it's a bit of a sticky one still.
Yeah,
So
sticky.
how was Trent?
Nah, he was
Generational.
It was bad.
From the first minute.
Yeah, it was bad. Like he was.
Deulofeu was having a jolly.
And then Pereira took the bat and then I want in me.
Yeah, he got the Rockefeller chain from the and then put it on. But yeah, man, like you know what? Yeah, and this might be me being a Liverpool fan that loves my players, but Trent defensively, me personally, unless he's getting doubled up on, I personally don't think he's as bad as everyone makes him out to be. Okay. But apart from games like yesterday, where I'm like, it's quite clear you got pammed differently.
Yeah.
And
what was the difference yesterday?
No Henderson on his side.
So that means he's not good defensively. He's relying on Henderson.
I said he's not that bad defensively. I never said he's great.
But that's just semantics.
As bad as everyone. Sorry, as bad as everyone makes him out to be.
Okay,
everyone makes him out like.
So how is he a competent?
Like he's a liability.
So for example, in a big game where we're playing a threatening winger, I'm not looking at him like, oof, you're gonna.
What about when Henderson's not playing?
Games like that come like yesterday where it could be an issue.
So that's what
he's a liability.
I wouldn't say he's a liability.
No,
but
I
he
disagree.
doesn't offer protection a lot.
Voice of reason.
That's which is very true.
The reason I disagree is because
What are you disagreeing with? Sorry.
the fact that a fullback in the Premier League, a fullback, if you're isolated against. All of these teams have sick wingers.
quality,
They're gonna get burnt.
Whoever I saw Alphonso Davies
with fullbacks behind them as well.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly.
It's hard.
But this is their first loss. Let us pam them.
I hear you.
Yeah, man.
I'm not defend my boy Trent. You can pam Liverpool.
Yeah, okay.
But let's remove Trent.
But even yesterday, Robertson
was bad.
He was getting like it was a all round. It was a bad performance.
I think everyone was coasting, man. I feel like you got to the point where you feel like you win it by just being on the pitch.
That was you never.
They have been though, haven't they?
I know.
They've done
it.
This is the thing.
But what I'm saying is, since the break, that momentum before the break, maybe it was second nature.
We're always bad after quite poor after the break as well.
That break should have come earlier because then maybe we could have been spared from this.
You're not gonna win the Champions League.
You don't think so?
No, you're not going to win the Champions League.
That's
you can't just. No, you're not.
Tell them.
You are.
No, you're not. Because I just don't.
How do you know about? What do you know about winning the Champions League? What do you know about winning the Champions League, Lewis? What do you know where it's got to take, huh?
I don't know anything.
And we're champions right now, you know. Take it easy, settle. You might don't even get past round of 32s in that, cuz like relax.
Every Champions League campaign,
You see ours last season?
15 years.
Did you see ours last season?
Yeah, I saw you guys. Very good. Well done. But you're not going to win Champions League.
Okay.
You're going to lose a few more league games as well.
According to you. Okay.
You're going to lose a few more league games before the end of the season as well. So it's going to take the shine off of the season a little bit, which I'm quite.
Do you think so?
No.
Yeah, I think it will do.
Why do you think that'll take the shine off?
Because people only remember the things at the end, don't they?
I think it's gonna. I think
Shine's off already, man. People are saying, yeah, Leicester's won a Premier League, Liverpool's won a
you know
Premier League. That's what I'm saying.
What difference, really?
And you know what? Yeah, stuff like that is still, and it's so amazing because it absolutely will wind up a Liverpool fan. But to me, I'm like, listen, I'm a very logical guy. I put it into perspective. If you told me, Julian, start the season, especially going into the season thinking that we're not going to win in the first place. If you told me start the season, Julian, you're about to go. How many games are we unbeaten? 26, 25, whatever.
18, 18, isn't it?
No, in the league.
Oh, okay.
How many games is it
wins.
since Jan? Is it like 40 something games?
44, 45.
So just short of the Arsenal record again in that
You
regard.
know, well, you know,
a
it's tight.
shame,
But yeah,
isn't it?
if you told me that start of the season, you're going to go 26 games unbeaten, and and you're going to win the league, I would have bit your hand off. So I can't.
So you can't dampen it.
Yeah, you can't dampen
I'm
my
surprised
first
you guys
Premier
are
League.
letting
Yeah,
anybody
I'm
dampen
surprised that
it.
people are. The only thing that's really getting me annoyed is the fact that
reason
people
why
are.
we can do it is because you wanted the Invincibles and we saw you
Yeah.
like eyeing it up, and it's not here.
Their dreams started to grow
100%.
every week.
And
And that was made it sweet.
Yeah, and
because you could see it.
Hey, Dan, you can't
type
lie.
in
It happens.
Invincibles,
It happens.
What
Where you win a couple games and you start feeling yourself. You get to January, you start feeling yourself. It happens, don't
What
it?
happens is, but
We
in
usually
like
win.
in like
Yeah,
December,
but you're
Yeah.
thinking about going
Yeah.
unbeaten. You think about it. It's normal. It happens.
in December you could have typed in Invincibles on Twitter. You wouldn't seen anything. Nothing. No tweets about it. January you start to pick up a little bit.
Yeah, it was
February, then we're getting all the raw.
What they're doing
Do you know what I mean?
Invincible 11s with Liverpool
Yeah,
players.
it was brazy.
Come on,
It
no
was
one's
brazy,
getting into
man.
that team,
We're
are they?
putting in Firmino for Henry because he does all the dirty work.
How many of those
That was
players would
criminal.
get in the Invincible team, really?
Me personally.
Yeah.
You want to know my
Yes.
honest opinion?
Of course.
I think Van Dijk,
Yeah.
Salah, Mane.
Wait, who's Salah playing over?
Ljungberg or
Ljungberg.
Okay,
Perez.
no, I just wanted you to say,
That's
and you said
simple.
Mane over who?
Mane over Walter,
Perez.
was it?
Perez.
Perez. Yes, right.
Perez.
Walter, yeah. Yes.
Both of them are
Are
goal
you,
scoring wingers. But
does that sound crazy to you, Lewis?
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound
I don't
crazy,
think
but
it's crazy.
I don't
No,
know.
it's
Something that.
Who's your centre mid pair? No,
Vieira and Gilberto.
Vieira, Gilberto. Nah, it's not happening. Yeah, Vieira, Fabinho. That's a
Gilberto,
shout.
Fabinho,
That's
yeah.
Vieira, Fabinho's a shout.
Gilberto Firmino. Fabinho.
yeah, that's
Vieira's starting.
Yeah,
Gilberto
I'm saying
winner,
Vieira's fine, but Vieira,
World
Fabinho,
Cup winner, mate. Yeah, Gilberto.
Champions League winner, mate.
World Cup's more prestigious.
But 1-1 for the club and 1-1 with his country.
One was Kai
One was
Ronaldo.
playing Ronaldinho and all that time.
And did he even start those games in the World Cup? No.
Vieira's the
Was he
World Cup
playing? Was he
winner
playing in the
as
World
well,
Cup as well?
Who? Gilberto.
Yeah.
Gilberto's starting, mate.
Yeah, he was a starter still.
Yeah, was
Cool.
Fabinho a starter?
No.
Yeah, you hate to see it.
We hate it,
Alright,
but he
cool.
went to
Don't know that.
So to you, Lewis. Obviously, you guys didn't have a league game this weekend. You've got an FA Cup game tomorrow, haven't you?
I believe so.
You do.
More bad than I would.
Your last game, an embarrassing exit in the Europa League at the hands of Greek giants Olympiakos.
Yeah, they are.
Break it down.
Break it down. The actual performance.
Yeah.
Did you celebrate when Aubameyang scored?
Yeah, because do
did.
you know what? I've got a vested interest in Aubameyang, so it's like when he scores, I get super excited.
hard
Why
did
do
you
you have a
celebrate?
vested interest?
Because I have many
Several.
bets. I have several bets.
You have a bet on every season.
But
he makes me money. And he's paying my rent. You know what I mean? Aubameyang's paying my rent. So thanks, Ife. You are making me live a life of luxury at the moment. But
So
yeah,
go
like
back to
I have a vested interest in Aubameyang. So when he hits,
you hit.
I hit. You know what I mean? So
So how was
I'm
the
living
performance?
vicariously
How was
through
the
him.
performance?
It's tepid, man. Really, it was really bad. We still had enough chances over the game to probably win the game, especially with Aubameyang's chance at the end. But it was really concerning that we only seemed to put our foot down the last 20 minutes when Olympiakos had scored. And we just didn't get going in the game. And we've seen a few games like that recently where we just can't seem to put more than 45 minutes of football together.
What do you think that boils down to?
It looks like a lack of quality, if I'm being honest. It does. It strikes to a quality issue. But then Arteta has got to take the...
He's
Arteta-
rubbing his head.
Arteta's got to take... Arteta's got to take the blame for a couple of these
Of course.
performances, you know.
Wait, what does he have to take the blame for exactly?
He's a coach. He's
So-
a manager.
You gotta let him cook, man.
So what was the game before? So the Everton game, we were getting pammed.
Fortuitous win.
Yeah, it was. But you know what? we've had some fortuitous. What's the opposite to fortuitous?
Unlucky.
Is that?
Yeah.
That's not a fancier word, is it?
Ungracious.
Okay, yeah. We've had some unlucky. We've had some unlucky results under attack. So it balances out at the end of the day, isn't it? So yeah, I think his subs have been a bit weird. Certain decisions that he's making,
What the lineup even is?
Lineups, yeah. I mean, why Laka was starting, I'm not too sure. He's.
I mean, I am. It's a Greek team. If Lacazette can't be a threat against a team a level of Olympiakos,
But he's not.
then it's a catastrophe. And
But Arteta's seen enough to know that.
I don't think he has though. I don't think he.
Well, he
thought
plays
has.
Eddie over him, doesn't
Remember,
he?
this is the guy that.
Laka's third choice.
Remember?
Well, second
Remember?
choice striker, but because
Laka's a guy who scored was scoring 30, 40 goals in France. So the feeling is that you can score 30, 40 goals in France, you should be able to.
No, but he's not the
But that was
same
a while
You should
player.
be able to score the Olympiakos.
Sorry?
That was a while ago because he's been quite poor and quite not poor. I say poor under Emery and
He's not the
Arteta,
same player.
but quite underwhelming
What's
under
changed?
3 managers.
Well, he's got a bit of timber on him, isn't he?
Yeah.
Too much.
Might as well be you out there, man.
I didn't know what you said, but he was looking. And Lewis is like, should I say it? I was like, fuck it, I'm going to say it.
Like he's just been having too much
I've
bagel
seen a
king.
bit of resemblance there.
I'll do it for 250 bags, man. I'm mad at it. 250 bags of weighty haircut.
Like he's shifting a lot of weight. Like I think I even said it for Nketiah's goal against who did Nketiah score against? Was it
Everton?
Newcastle.
Wasn't it Everton?
Everton? Laka's not getting to that.
not
He
getting
can't lift his leg that high. He's got too much thighs. Do you know what I
Bokota.
mean?
He wouldn't even be in that
Yeah.
position. He wouldn't even have ran to that position. He wouldn't
He's
even
not
been
getting
there.
it. And there was a chance against Olympiacos where if it's someone more mobile, someone just not carrying weight like he is.
But that's shocking at this level, though.
Why do you think he's carrying the weight, though?
Too
I
much
think
bagel
because
king.
it's on-
Memphis,
in and
nah,
out.
that's
King,
when
man.
Memphis did it. Because when you look at Memphis in
When
France
you're out of
now,
the team.
No, not even that.
Sorry, my bad.
When Memphis came to England, he put on a lot of weight because it was like it's a physical league. You have to be able to be strong. But then it ended up taking a bit out of his game. He lost his agility, his acceleration, and then when he went back to France, he lost the weight again.
Laka ain't done that. He's eating good, man.
Do you
He's
think
just
he's eating
gaucho.
good? That's
what I'm saying.
But the thing is
He's
with
Gaucho,
good,
yeah?
man.
But
The fact is similar, right? In this country, the diet, like obviously in Italy,
Some
now.
people just saying that to me, like the things we eat generally
Yeah.
here, they aren't quite good for you. But I mean, they've got chefs who can do all that for them, though.
Yeah, but sometimes they just.
Why
eat
in
them.
Oberfan?
And why is it only Laka?
But then the
But
difference is like with the pie, I thought his one was more muscle. Lacazette is not muscle. That's just a tubby ute out there,
Yeah.
like trying to run around and play ball.
I do wonder if he thinks it's aiding him because of his role in the team. And
I don't. There's no
hold
way
up
he can be
players.
happy with his performances.
no, I'm wondering if he thinks maybe this is the correct conditioning to be like that hold up guy. You know,
that's what
to
Really? Why
maybe
do you think he's thinking that though?
maybe well
He doesn't
because
look
he has
happy
been.
He doesn't even look happy.
He's
out
trying to
there.
still-
Because he
doesn't
has
look
been, because he's been suited to this role where he is the hold-up guy.
Yeah,
he
that's
is,
the reason why Oba's not playing there. Because
yeah,
he's
exactly.
Do you know
he's
what,
the
yeah?
physical
Yeah.
guy who's gonna get his foot on the ball and you know
Do you know what? Yeah,
do something with it. But
I
he
don't
doesn't.
want to blow his horn here, but I actually blame Firmino for this because
Firmino's-
and Liverpool fans as well because
Firmino's
Liverpoul
gassed it.
fans have made it a thing where your
Firmino's
striker
gassed it.
doesn't have to score. All he has to do is just hold it up and
Troy,
pass it
well,
to your
obviously
killers on
that's
the
what
wing.
Heskey used to do, but like we've seen like Troy Deeney against you guys.
Yeah.
He was like it kind of works.
can.
I've seen so many.
Yeah, but
teams
Watford are in
now.
relegation.
Why it
though.
doesn't
Like,
work?
Arsenal are
I
in
hear
a
you, but
European
why
team.
it doesn't matter?
It's definitely a role within a football team, but Firmino's allowed to do that because he plays with Mane and Salah
Yeah.
and they grab goals.
But the thing is, with Firmino, the reason it's not an acceptable excuse is it's not like Firmino doesn't get chances. I think he's missed the most.
Oh, it's not an
clear-cut
acceptable excuse,
chances.
but from Liverpool fan, I'm saying like the whole
But
like making it
not.
acceptable.
It's not the fact that Firmino. But they try to paint it in a way of but that's not his role. It's not his job to score goals. He doesn't get the chances. He gets
Yeah, he does,
a
he does.
shitload of
Absolutely, he
chances.
does.
He gets a shitload of chances. I think only Gabby Jesus has missed more big chances than Firmino this
Yeah,
season,
man.
and Laka's probably quite high in that list as well in terms of he's definitely missed bigger chances than he scored this season. So it's not
to see it.
it's not because they don't get the chances. You know, the team is still formulated around them to get chances. I'm not buying that angle at all. They're just not strike. They're not hitters. They're not
hitters,
shooters.
they're not. Absolutely not.
They're not shooters.
How's
And I don't know
Pepe?
what's happened to Laka because he used to be in France, but
How's Pepe?
oh god, man. Do you know what? About every week, my expectations of this lad goes down and down and down.
You should have
down.
dropped your
It's
stocks
like-
when I did.
Oh,
Like,
that was after his first game, wasn't it?
I've been dropping my
never
stocks.
seen his dad drop his stock that quick. That quick. ever.
Do you know what it is?
Dan is normally rational as well. He's normally like,
No, but
I'll
that's
give
what
him
I
6
am
months.
rational.
I am rational.
Yeah,
That's
his
what-
rationality.
it was a
Pepe
rational
not it.
decision. So literally, I think we needed a goal scoring winger so much that I was looking to for goal scoring wingers. Obviously, Pepe kind of rocks up, and so I'm watching him. But when you're continually making excuses like, oh yeah, he can't really run with the ball like that, but he's setting them up. Oh yeah, but he's good at set pieces and all that type of stuff. But after just seeing one game in the Premier League, I was like, you know what? I'm making too many excuses. Like this guy's just dead.
So, yeah,
I can't even argue with it. This is the thing. Like, I'm rubbing my head again. I know it's on camera.
When you argued in the group,
I know, but you notice I've done a little bit less of that. I've been dropping my stocks in via alternative means. Okay, so I've been dropping my stocks in the Touchy Gooners group.
And the smart thing is, when you want to drop your stock successfully, you got to pass it on to someone else. So now Sal's picking up.
Yeah. But he doesn't know that I'm.
and then what you need to do when Sal's doing that, you just need to Sal, man. Nah,
Sal, man.
And then when the
Sal
conversation
becomes
comes
the
back,
sole holder of the.
Sal, bro, I was telling you at the time. I love it. I see the
Even
vision.
sorry, I forgot the guy's name.
Pepe.
SVR Pepe.
Sean.
Sheon. Oh,
Yeah.
he's even given up. He's changed the
Has
Twitter
he?
name,
Has he?
everything.
Has he?
It's not even SVR Pepe anymore.
What is he?
I don't know, man.
Some new French.
Some new Frenchie. Yeah, he's moved on, man.
Probably. The thing is, I'm all for giving players settling in time. We could go over the course of 20 years in the Premier League and we can find players that, it's taken them a while to settle in and stuff like that. But you have to show something. You have to show something.
At all.
The thing is, he's shown that he's very good at taking set pieces.
Well, you saw
My
that
praise.
clip though. That clip where he chopped like 5 guys.
Why did he do that, though? Why did he do
like a
that?
Somali.
What kind of Afrobeat dance was he doing?
Mahrez without the end product. Oh man, you hate to see it.
The thing is, people could use that as like a clip. Oh, look at Pepe.
People
but
are using
what
it
I
as a
saw
clip.
was that's ridiculous what you're doing. You had at least 3 chances to pull the trigger.
That just shows
Why
me
have you not
that
done it?
you don't have the
Some
ability
people
to
just only saw Lacazette in there, and you can't really blame him for that.
I think he's. I do.
But shoot.
I think he's got good quality, but like it's the same way you talk about Sarr. You said you don't kind of rate Sarr.
No,
You said he's the worst baller you've ever seen.
I said, is he the worst footballer in the Premier League?
Yeah.
But do you know what? I've got a good reason for saying that. Because the thing is,
that shit around.
if we're talking about Premier League footballers, every Premier League footballer has quality. Yeah, so when you're talking about in relation to it. No, but it's true. But it's true, right? And we've all seen these players that look like they've got that. Sarr is chaos factor to a T. But if you give him those chances that he had against Liverpool, we saw it in the first game against Liverpool. He had these chances. And he was coming off his knee, coming out for a corner.
Trust me, it's the Anfield. It's Anfield. It makes your legs weak.
It's not because I've seen Sarr. I've seen Sarr play for Senegal in the World Cup. Was it? The World Cup, the last one I think it was. And he was atrocious. And no, because I was scouting him for Arsenal.
Yeah,
because we were linked with him heavily, and I was like, I'm not having this guy. And then for Watford a few times this year, he just doesn't look. He looks
very unpolished.
very unpolished.
He reminds me of very early Ricarlison. You know what Ricarlison was a bagsman.
But this is what I'm saying in terms of the clubs down the leagues. They can't get polished players, right? So they've got to have something, but they're not going to have. And I think Pepe suits that. So. Like very early on, I was like,
he's a mid-table team's star signing.
He's someone that in a game for Watford might bang against Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? But
when you're Arsenal fans will be like, we should sign him.
Yeah, but when you're on the top of the league, you need to kind of rely on consistent kind of quality. And
I mean, he cost 72 mil as well.
His technique is even consistent.
This is the thing, yeah. Like my first criticism of him was his striking technique, and I still think. He's got so much deficiencies in that. Like he never feels with confidence that he's going to find the back in net, and that's why he's only scored 4 goals this season. And it's not good enough really.
Cool. So I think now is a good time for me to make the point that I wanted to make earlier. Lewis was pushing for the question that has been discussed this week after Chelsea's battering. So going to need you again, big man. Where are we at in terms of the Premier League? In terms of the strength of the league at the moment? Yes, a Liverpool fan. You guys have taken it personally and taken that question to mean that people are suggesting that.
I'm so happy I didn't take it personally.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I'm one of the only ones that didn't like.
Taking it personally, people are suggesting that you're beating a weak field. So I'll let you kick off proceedings. What are your feelings? Obviously, you've played every team in the league, most of them twice by now. What are your feelings about the quality of the Premier League now in comparison to, let's say, 5 years ago?
Here's the thing. I genuinely think, especially on, where these questions get asked on Twitter, which is full of, the fans of the traditional top 6, top 4 clubs, they're seeing what they're seeing at their clubs and then trying to relate and obviously because of the quality that they have, they can get into the competitions like Europa League and Champions League. But they're seeing the deficiencies in their club and trying to like paint that over the whole league. I remember like there was you guys that even Muga, you even said it like everyone said it on the pod like this team here before you bought Fernandes, a lot of these players wouldn't like if they were to get a move, they would move downwards, and that is true for a lot of the players in like Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, maybe now Tottenham, but not so Man City. And not so much Leicester since they're getting top 3 and the quality's there. But then again, we'll have to see with the Champions League what happens next season, and obviously not Liverpool. Also, the fact that the quality from the lower teams, as we discussed, like we've had a whole discussion on players like Sarr and discussing their quality. There's a lot of quality, like as you said at the start of the podcast. There's so many below the top 6. There's so many players that we would take from clubs that can even get relegated. Like Arsenal could use Diop, Chelsea could use. Chelsea could use Buendia. Man United could probably use another Sarr. Is he a right winger? Or left?
Forward, kind of plays a bit of
Watford Sarr.
Right winger.
Watford Sarr. But so I'm saying someone like that could go to a Man United and.
I don't think.
Nah, you're taking that.
Oh well, I'm taking.
You are taking that.
But you get the point.
Right wing for Man United.
Reece James. Daniel James. Sorry,
Daniel James and Greenwood. Yeah, he might be better than them. But,
I'm saying
take him.
Yeah,
okay, but I'm
I
saying.
hate when people use
But you
that.
might take Delafeu.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, Delafeu could be a squad player.
Yeah,
he could be a
So
squad
you get the
player.
idea.
You'd rather him coming off the bench than Dan James, wouldn't you?
I'd rather him taking all Dan James's minutes.
Yeah, but you get the idea. Like,
But we can say that for Liverpool, and you're kind of like squad players.
into our starting 11.
But this is what I'm saying.
I mean, you'd replace.
Actually, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
wouldn't. And I wouldn't.
What about Naby Keita? Wouldn't you replace him with certain
Wait,
guys?
he don't even. He's bottom of the centre mid list at my club at the moment.
Bottom of the
no, that's a lie. Nah, he's
I
over
thought
the
it'd be
line.
top 3.
But yeah, man, he hasn't impressed at all. But again, I would fully have Maddison.
He had a good patch though, didn't he, Keita?
He did, yeah. He had a 2-3 game patch, yeah.
Are you still holding
I've kind of let myself go on a low, just because.
But who bought them? Because ain't nobody was buying them.
Listen,
so-
if there's no one to
Liverpool
buy
fans
them,
were buying them,
then
innit?
I'll be very honest with you. This summer, if we can get upwards of 40 mil.
Are you
lucky.
mad?
As I said,
Are
we'll be
you
lucky.
mad?
If we get upwards of 40
You
mil,
take
we'll be
10.
lucky.
You don't
No, I
think-
wouldn't take 10.
Nah, they'll
Come
get
on.
they'll
Would you
get
take
value
him
for
at
Keita.
Arsenal?
They're
Still
getting
young,
30
man.
mil for
He's
Keita.
still
From
young.
who?
He's not even getting on the pitch.
If we're getting fucking
I love it
60
when
mils
people-
for one of our keepers that we never use, I'm sure we can.
Why do people justify bad business with other bad business? Like when you don't want to sell players on.
He's not a bad player.
I don't think he's a bad player.
He's not a bad player, but he's
he's
just-
not,
he's-
he doesn't like
he-
the Prem
yeah.
play.
I
He
don't
just
think
ain't
it's
no
worked for him at
different.
Liverpool. But if you go back to how he was performing at Leipzig,
Here we go. But with the question marks over that league. Put that whole league in rice, mate.
But then that league came to Chelsea and spun the up block.
Well, no, from that league.
Yeah,
Bayern,
yeah,
the top
yeah,
team.
like-
Do you know what I mean?
Top team in Germany.
But
Like
yeah,
Liverpool, the top team in
They could
England.
have come. They could have come Merseyside and do that.
PSG.
1-0. Yeah,
2-1.
so I'm saying I don't think
2-1.
the Bundes was it 2-1. My bad. I don't think the Bundesliga
But-
is trash like.
but yeah,
everyone's
we lost
saying.
to Frankfurt this year or something like that.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, we did. Like, I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. When
it's tense. It's tense.
Yeah.
Yeah, the obvious.
No, but what
You're trying.
Liverpool are the best team in the league, but I don't think you've got the best players. So I think structurally,
Interesting.
yeah,
Elaborate.
I think obviously you've got great players. I think Man City have a better squad of players,
Okay.
but I think structurally Klopp has set you up so well, which is why I just think in terms of your attack, you're always going to score a goal. If it's not Mane, it's Firmino. If it's not Firmino, it's Salah. And defensively, you've patterned
Not
into.
Firmino. Yeah, God.
It's definitely, exactly. It's definitely not. But defensively, you've got it patterned too, and obviously, like we talked about in midfield, they're hard work in midfield. So I think just in terms of taking care of all of the things you need to do, Klopp has done that best.
Yes.
That doesn't necessarily mean that you've got the best
But-
squad. Because let me finish. When you go beyond the first 11, when you go beyond the first 11, like you said, he's overplayed Salah. He's overplayed, so he hasn't trusted.
That's indicative of a lack of
yeah,
squad depth.
he hasn't.
But Origi's done quite well when he's come in.
But this the thing I say.
Yeah, he has.
But this the thing I argue. Like, the reason that these players are not playing is not because of their quality. I don't think Ox I think Ox is good enough to play for Liverpool. Start for Liverpool because he clearly did in our good Champions League run.
Yeah.
When he's able to get a good run of games.
Ox is one of your better squad players.
Yeah, he's one of our better
squad
squad
players.
Matip, a centre back that got us to the Champions League final, won it. He's not starting now.
Why is Lovren being preferred to Matip?
Matip's injured.
Oh, Matip injured.
I wouldn't
Okay.
count
Sorry, guys. I've
injured
checked
as
out.
not starting though. Is he be playing?
No, he wouldn't. I think Gomez and Van Dijk are
but he would be playing ahead of Lovren as
Oh
well.
yeah.
So I wouldn't count him as somebody who's not getting a look in. But we're thinking of players like Shaqiri.
Even Shaqiri. When Shaqiri come against Everton, he came in for one game, lit it up. Naby Keita, when he was called upon previously in the season, and he got a good run of games at Salzburg, even last season in the Champions League against Bayern Munich, there were games where he came and he done very well. But for me, I blame Klopp because you can't expect these players to come in on an off game and light it up and stake their place in the team.
Argument to be had though, you guys wouldn't have won 26 games out of 28 games if you hadn't kept.
This is what I'm saying.
Which is fair. But
so
he's basically ran them into the ground, but they've won him the league.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. This is what actually preferably you wouldn't want to rotate. The only times you rotate is to potentially keep people fresh, or if you've got injuries.
I think they've won. They're not going to lose the league now.
Yeah.
Once that's signed off, depending on how they're doing the Champions League, they can now rest these players to then focus their energies on
exactly.
that. So if you end up getting to have another deep run in the Champions League and you've got the league title, wasn't it all worth it?
Also the FA Cup as well. If we still want to make a run for that and go for glory, then yeah. But it's just a case of that's the criticism that I even have of Klopp. Like this season, I felt like there's certain games and certain times in games where players could have started or got a look in, but you'd rather play Lallana for what? Just to hold on to the ball and a bit of ball retention. Keita, maybe, he's not the right guy to bring on when you want to have a solid game, but there's still games where I felt like he could have started and made a difference.
But this conversation was really about assessing the league. And the reason why I brought up Liverpool...
It's crazy.
The reason why I brought up Liverpool is because I feel like, actually, we've got a lot better managers in the league that can exploit oppositions.
You mean from top to bottom, yeah?
From top to bottom. And I think that Liverpool are the best, well-structured, rather than having the best... everyone's talking about the quality in the league. I think there's more quality in the league, and I'm talking about even quality managers. But I feel like Klopp, at this point, with the players he's got, has created the most kind of robust team. Okay. And so, in terms of the league quality, it's cool, but I just feel like everybody else, there's weaknesses for them to exploit.
Okay.
Bar City, I just think City are a bit tired from having doing a 2-year matting. They're allowed to have a...
Yeah, it's mental fatigue.
Yeah, mental fatigue.
It's mental fatigue, but I think generally, like we said before, the quality in the league, whether it's Everton with Ancelotti now, like managerially and player-wise, the quality is a lot better.
Yeah, I think just on that point as well, though, it's like you can look at Liverpool's games this season, and there are very few that you guys have run away with. You know what I'm saying? That you've had
even within games, that's indicative of the quality
yes,
of the league.
Yeah, because every team can say this season they've given Liverpool a go. They've had opportunities to win games.
They haven't ran away. They haven't literally flattened every
What's
game.
your biggest win this season?
We've had a few.
Okay, I can reel off a few games where I could say we...
Like you battered Arsenal. But we had big chances in that game.
I was never worried.
Pepe had a 1-on-1. Aubameyang missed an open goal pretty much.
Pepe didn't have a 1-on-1.
Yes, he did.
He got past Van Dijk and then he got tackled.
Who had the 1-on-1?
I think it was Aubameyang.
No, Pepe had a 1-on-1.
Pepe had it. It was Pepe.
Okay. Pepe had a 1-on-1 and it was a because he dribbled through and he did the hard part and then it was just a really bad finish into Alisson's legs, I think.
Oh yeah, and then
and that was early on, and then you guys scored right before half time.
Fair enough. Man City is a game that I felt like was pretty easy. United at home was pretty easy. Yeah. Everton at home, they got 2 goals, but that was pretty.
But I was talking about more like in terms of goals, like gaps, 4-0, 5-0.
Oh yeah. Those are a few.
But a lot of your games this season, you have taken 2-0 leads.
Yeah, and then
just taken the foot off. Yeah, and then teams have had chances at the end, so it kind of skews.
And that's one thing that I feel like is the big difference between Liverpool and Man City. Like Man City will pam you relentlessly. Yeah. But Liverpool, we kind of know. Well, Klopp has kind of got to know our limits. He'll be like 2-0. I'm not gonna try, going full throttle because I'm gonna use these players for probably for a lot of the games. So I'm gonna take my foot off the gas, bring on Lallana and Milner and just call it a day.
That sounds good. I don't know if that's actually how it plays out. I know, like retrospectively, we can say he's doing this, but I feel like they literally have more quality than
You can tell. I'm just saying, you can tell from his substitutions. Like, if he really wanted to go out and get more goals, he'll bring on an Ox instead of Lallana, or Milner or Keita instead of Milner. But he doesn't.
At the same time, I still think with Pep's not always forcing Aguero to play. Aguero probably plays less than, again, he's an important player, but like whereas Klopp is always playing Mane and Salah.
That's
that's not
indicative of a manager trying to take sort of the gap if he's using his best players every single game.
That's what I'm trying to say. This is so
every single game
exactly.
he knows that I have to play my very best players.
But I think what the original thing is that in game, once it's won, then you're saying he takes them off.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's where I'm like. But when it comes to obviously the starting the games, you know, he has his three. Like, this is the three that I'll go with because I know what they'll do. For example, I play Henderson so he can provide Trent with that protection so he can go forward, and that's my attacking outlet with Robertson on the other side as well. If that's his thinking with like our midfield quality. But
who does think that the Premier League quality is dropped? Does anyone?
I think that the top teams, the teams lower than us, have caught up to us somewhat. What is indicative of more quality? Having a few elite teams or having it more parity across?
That's what I'm saying. I don't really understand the question either, so I don't know what is the question.
Do you also think? I said it before. Like, do you also think it's like bad practices of years of bad transfers from? Yeah, you use these clubs that come in to bite you back in us because you can't really now, after spending God knows how much, go out and buy players because, you know, the players that you have to stick with them. Like, for example, you stick with your Rohos, your Lindelofs because you paid money for them. You stick
is
with
this a question or is this
I'm just saying. No, it's true because
I don't believe this is a genuine question.
Because you guys are still sticking with.
I see you smiling at the beginning of the question, so I know what's coming. It's not a question.
But I'm saying, like, do you think like
this is another host? We got three hosts.
Do you feel like you sticking with those players and till these later years and allowing?
There's not that many players you have to do that.
Up.
It's just like if it's a massive signing, like at Chelsea we've got Kepa.
Yeah, but same with us.
You've got a few. You've definitely got a few.
Who?
Aspilicueta, for example. Ashley's your captain.
Yeah, it's not because
it's not the same.
We signed him like ages ago.
Fair
okay, Lewis made a good point.
Yeah, exactly.
We've asked the question, but let's actually make an understanding of what the question is. So I think the main difference between the Premier League now and the Premier League back when everyone thought it was the strongest league is that
when was that?
Let's say
the Rafa,
04 to 09.
Mourinho.
I think the years when we were dominating the Champions League.
04 to 09.
Which was 2 years, right?
3 years or so. When we were getting to the quarter semis, like 2-3 teams.
It was United, Chelsea,
Arsenal, Chelsea.
So what year was that?
Liverpool.
2012.
It was United, Chelsea, and Liverpool. Arsenal would always drop out.
Yeah, so I would say that 06 to 010 sort of period.
That period.
But remember, I would even
say before that, Arsenal were getting to, facing Juventus in the invincible season.
Champions League and Arsenal. But let's not get into the semantics of that. So that's what people grew up on, yeah. The Premier
They're saying that Premier League era is stronger than this. It's not.
It's not. But what I guess Mariah was saying
is... the question is we're talking about the quality of the league in general. So, back to the point I'm trying to make. People are comparing when we had a few elite teams. And, okay, apart from Europe, there was a clear bank of teams that would always separate themselves from everybody else and then go on to challenge for the title and then do well in the continent to what we have now, which is 1 or 2 elite teams and then everybody else is just kind of scrapping it out. And then we're not doing as well in Europe on the whole. Every season we'll have like one team who's able to kind of go and do their thing. Obviously, last year we had 2 teams in the final. What to you is indicative of a league with more quality?
I think it's this one because agreed. I think, don't forget, we talk about 4 teams being quality. It wasn't 4 teams. Arsenal was always going out in the last 16. Liverpool, I'm coming to you, bro. Liverpool, you know what I'm saying? Liverpool, when you won the Champions League, you were shit. You were shit. And when Chelsea won the Champions League as well, we weren't good. It was usually for a little bit, it was Man United and Chelsea that were always getting to the semi-finals. Okay. And that's 2 teams.
So you're dispelling the myth.
And now we've got 2 teams. Okay. Do you know what I mean? So like, yes, I think people are seeing that actually the top, before all of the quality in the league was in the top bracket and the rest wasn't there. But now it's a little bit, okay, the top bracket is the top 2 and then it's almost diffused down from there.
But then just to provide a bit of whatever it is.
Yeah,
To your point,
Arsenal.
Last season you had Spurs in the final, Liverpool in the final,
Yeah.
Man City semi-final, quarters.
Yeah.
Who was the other English team in the Champions League last year?
Man United, and they got knocked out by Barcelona.
Okay.
So to play devil's advocate.
Then we had 2 teams in Europa League final.
Yeah, but this is what my thing is. I think where the quality after Liverpool is Europa. I think Chelsea are Europa.
Not Man City.
No.
After Man City.
Sorry, you said after Liverpool.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sorry. After sorry. By default,
Yeah.
Liverpool.
Go on.
But yeah, I think Leicester Europa, Chelsea Europa, Arsenal. Man U. So that we could all kind of do well in the Europa.
Okay.
There's a lot of Premier League teams that could do well in Europa.
That's what I'm saying. But
Even that's like Wolves.
yeah, exactly.
Well, Wolves smacked Espanyol, was it?
Yeah.
But that's
I don't know
not
where Espanyol are in La
They're
Liga,
not good.
but
They're
Yeah.
like,
But whereas before, like the Premier League teams, you was like, okay, we had a batch that could do bits in the Champions League. But I think there's so many Europa quality teams now.
and do you think
they're bottom of the
yeah,
league.
they're trash. And do you think that is we're in a stronger position in comparison to the other big leagues in that regard? Obviously, I know you don't necessarily watch these teams week in, week out.
Yeah, but I think the Spanish teams used to dominate Europa.
Yeah.
Because I think again,
Sevilla.
I think we're more
Atletico.
like how the Spanish league was set up, whereas their top 2, Real Madrid and Barcelona, Champions League, and then the rest were like dominating. Valencia.
And when they were doing that, we were saying that was the best league in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Valencia was
Okay.
dominating Europa, Sevilla, all of them teams. And so I think, again, I don't know if our best 2 is as good as they probably are now. I don't think Barcelona are
Barcelona not good.
What's
Real Madrid are shit.
Yeah, their best days are behind them. Real's brought this money and this big signing from the Premier League, and he hasn't lived up to.
Our 2 big sides have beaten their 2 big sides in the last season or so.
It's actually crazy. Like, I think over the world, the quality of football, like from teams, is down quite a lot. Like they're not as formidable as they once were.
I think it's just more spread out.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
People
I
are
don't
used
think
to old money dominating, and old money's
I don't
not dominating
think-
anymore.
And if that's
I
the
don't
case,
think players are getting worse at football.
Yeah,
I just
of course
think
they're
they
not.
are scattered across different
Yeah,
places.
and because I think the money in the game makes it harder for the bigger teams to hog these players. Like
And I
they used to.
resources available to teams as
I
well.
think there's not a Ronaldinho, there's not an Henry. I just feel like the quality of top player is down as well.
Okay, interesting.
I personally think that's because the Messi and Neymar has made us skewed. Sorry, the
Messi
Messi
and Neymar
Neymars
not
and
skewed it.
Messi Neymars and Ronaldo's have skewed what we
No,
would
I just
call
feel
great.
like
'Cause Immobile's having
in
a
the
great
other
season.
generation, younger.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You know, your Batistutas and all them.
I just want to put my egg on the table. No, I definitely think there was a lot of more. Maybe it's just in terms of actually watching it for entertainment value. But I do feel like now when you're looking around for players United, you're like, oh, who can I buy? There's not many, right? There's not many. Whereas before there was always like, okay, cool, Del Piero, bam, bam, bam. Across the league, there was there was goal scorers, there were flair players, there was so many to pick from. But I think now we're lacking.
Do you think so?
I
I feel
think
like the
now we're
quality in
lacking.
football's pretty constant. That's one thing I have faith in. Like the quality in the game, the amount of quality players it stays at like a constant.
I definitely think it's the hyper visibility as well. Like, for example, a player like Ndombele, you probably wouldn't watch him like all the time from the end, apart from when you see him in the Champions League. But then now you get like little,
I hear that, but
little highlights
Do you
with the
think
box
that's
playing
what
in the background.
dispelling a myth, yeah?
Yeah.
Where you only used to see a player like once,
100%.
and then they'd have a
that.
blind there.
Yeah.
You'd be like, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Little do you know, every time in La Liga, he's
Like,
just
I get that,
thinking
but
about-
I
Still get it out.
I get that, but I stayed up many nights when I was a kid. Channel 5,
Because
watching
for example,
Escorio.
for example, most people, like, when Nedved won Ballon d'Or, most people would have been like,
No. Honestly, I used to watch football mad lot. So I remember when Nedved won, what's his name?
I watched that
Farcical.
season.
And everybody,
Absolutely farcical.
and everybody was saying he's amazing. I'm like, I watch this guy every week. He's not that good. I promise you. But yeah.
Alright, cool. One more topic before listeners' questions. So, the Premier League have announced this Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's quite an interesting topic because everybody feels strongly about players who've done well for their clubs over the years. Has been a lot of discussion this week.
Oh, that's a bit rude, isn't it? Is that a thing?
Luke Cage, thank you.
Is that why you get out? Like for the podcast, I saw it.
I wanted to say the intro, but the character couldn't come to a name.
I saw it. I'm just looking at Mario's screen, and I'm seeing
no, I
this
say,
guy.
and you said you came out from the gym as well.
It's not even that funny. It's not even that funny. And I was gonna explain it, but I don't want the audience to laugh too. So let's move on.
Cool. So, firstly, to ask, have you lot all been like have your ears to the ground in regards to the whole Hall of Fame, how it works, etc., etc.?
Not how it works.
Okay, cool. So you know, all like the American sports tend to have a Hall of Fame. So you're voted in after career of excellence. It ends up being like 1% of all the players who've ever played in that league or whatever the case may be. So had a lot of people talking. Somebody put together something pretty interesting, which I wanted to share. Is Rob_Mush.
Old type Mush.
Yeah. So
Liverpool fan, yeah?
Yeah.
Love the guy.
Cool.
You guys are everywhere. What he did was sort of kind of break down the different criteria that a player can have across the longevity of their career. So like appearances, goals, assists, titles, team of the year, player of the month, and put together loads of different charts in terms of who would come into the Hall of Fame.
So he designed the point system,
Yeah.
and a Liverpool fan designed his point system.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I think you can't really argue with the
He's not.
I mean, they're not gonna have
the
too
list
many-
was good. We didn't have too many. We didn't have too many names in the certified
Hall of
Yeah, but
Fame.
like,
category.
I'm just
It's
skeptical.
Premier
'cause-
League Hall of Fame.
Premier
yeah?
League.
Alright,
So
yeah.
don't matter what you did in
I mean,
Champions
Liverpool
League.
did fuck all.
But
for
is
the
it
last-
is it ranked?
Right,
Is
we've
it
got
ranked?
a few legends.
Yeah, it's ranked, but
So I'm
he's
guessing
broken it
Gerrard
down.
is probably high.
He's broken it down based on positions. So I think we'll start with probably the most interesting part of the pitch, which is up front. Just to give you an idea of the point system, 1 per 50 appearances, 1 point per 20 goals, 1 point per 15 assists, 2 points for a title win, 3 points for PFA or PL Team of the Year, 3 points for Young Player or Player of the Year, 1 point for Player of the Month. We can
Yeah, fair
discuss
enough.
the point system at another time. I just wanted to. It's a foundation that.
And he's putting all the work for this.
He's putting all the work for.
And
this.
he's tallied it up.
Yeah, it's pretty sophisticated.
I want Rob's job. I can't lie. Give me Rob's job. Like,
Yeah, Rob's in play. I don't think he's
Hey man.
All right, so before I give you his top fives based on his stats, I want to go around and ask you lot off the top of your head who you'd have in your top 5 strikers if you're doing a Hall of Fame today.
Thierry Henry.
Henry.
Rooney. Shearer.
Oh, he said he's gonna go around the table, right?
Oh.
Yeah, literally each person saying 5.
Okay.
Oh, so you want my 5?
Yeah.
All right, okay. So Thierry, got to have Rude, Van Nistelrooy, I think. Alan Shearer, based just because he scored so many goals.
Yeah.
Aguero.
100%.
Good player.
Yeah.
Synchronized. Julia waited for you because you came in a bit earlier first.
Good player.
Aguero, and then the 5th. Oh, yeah. Rooney.
Interesting. So I've only heard 4 from you. Henry, Van Nistelrooy, Aguero, Rooney, and Shearer. Right, cool. Dan?
Shearer, Thierry, Aguero.
If I hit that Ivorian striker.
I'm not.
Dan don't ride for him, man.
No. I wanted to sell him at one point. Suarez.
You would have
Suarez.
Suarez, but even though he only had like what,
I
2
know.
seasons.
That's his opinion.
I know. And have I put Aguero, Suarez,
Yeah, you've
Shearer,
got Henry.
Thierry.
You've got Shearer, Henry, Aguero, Suarez. You got one more.
All right, come back to me. I think of a 5th.
Go on.
Henry, Aguero, Shearer, Rooney.
Oh yeah, Rooney. That's my one.
Okay,
cool.
so Henry's got 3 votes. Aguero's got 3 votes. Rooney's got 3 votes. Shearer's got 3 votes. Who else was your other 2?
Oh, it's hard. It's hard for me because you guys probably.
You're dying to say Michael Owen.
No.
innit?
No. Fuck that. Fuck that guy, man. I ain't
Robbie
going for him.
Fowler.
No. Because it's weird because for older people listening, they might say, "Oh, Cantona," but I never.
Oh, bang on about the
I
age.
know,
Like,
but
no,
I'm saying
like-
you guys,
They're
bro.
like you're 21.
Oh yeah.
You're a bit insecure about your age.
Yeah, I am because I get it all the time. Like, I'll say for me, RVP. That I'm thinking off
his
the top
age
of my
group,
head.
for his
Yeah,
age
for my RVP and
Wood.
is that
Doesn't
what
matter.
was that 4th?
That's 4 you've given. Need one more.
RVP. This is gonna sound crazy.
Actually, you said Shearer as well, didn't you?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
you've given
it's
your
fine.
5.
RVP's my 5th.
Cool. So based on the scoring system, top of the list was Rooney with 72 points.
Because he won so many titles.
Titles, guest
Player of the
appearances
young
as
player,
well. Yeah. Henry came
Flawed.
second with 66. Shearer third with 62.
Yeah.
Andy Cole fourth with 39.
Okay, yeah.
This is a big
Makes
gap.
sense.
But this is a big gap between those 3. And then 5th was Van Persie with 38. Aguero also had 38, and then Harry Kane had 36. Other players you mentioned, such as Suarez, had 24 points. Ruud van Nistelrooy had 29 points. Yeah, I think so. We can clearly say I think Rooney, Henry, and Shearer are like the creme de la creme, and they're what you'd probably call your first ballot Hall of Famers. So that basically means the first time their name comes up to join the Hall of Fame, they get picked. And then you've got the players like a Suarez.
Contentious.
Yeah.
Contentious.
Second ballot, third. Their names might have to come up a few times before somebody.
Are they going to do it the same way they do it in American sports? We don't know.
I don't think they've broken down how they're going to do it.
Yeah, because the way they do it, like,
would you guys have any kind of like ethical moral code? So,
Like
for example, Suarez, racist, biter.
You know what? He would. Let's say, for example, I think with American football and baseball as well, they ask the sport writers to pick.
Oh, okay.
And you know those sort of guys that they never played, and they're like, listen, man, the spirit of the game. I mean, Suarez would struggle in that sort of model. I think in the NFL, they get, I don't know how they did it when it first started, but Hall of Famers vote on who joins the Hall of Fame every year.
Induct them into their crew.
So how would you start that off, though?
I don't know. That's what I said. I don't know how it started when there was nobody in the Hall of Fame. That's
the only argument I would have for Suarez being worthy of the Hall of Fame, bar the ethical thing, is because of because of the PFA Player of the Year and the 31 goals. That's
he would. He struggled though. That's not. He doesn't have the body of work. I think.
Yeah, that's literally all.
The only reason why I mention him is I always think of who are the best strikers.
If you're talking about pure talent,
that's what I'm saying.
because pure talent, Suarez is better than Shearer.
Yeah, he's going to be in the top 3, top 5 strikers.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I want.
Yeah, I know. You lean more towards that sort of
quality rather than body of work.
I can't. Yeah, longevity. Giggs is.
Cool. All right. With that being said, we're about to go to midfielders. He used exactly the same criteria as he did for the attackers. So 1 point per appearances, goals, assists, and then the 3 points for the awards, and then 2 points for winning a title with a minimum of 25 appearances. So with that being said, because I think a list of 5 was a bit difficult for you lot.
Yeah, 3.
Let's say 3 this time.
Yeah.
What midfielders? And we'll start with you this time, Julian.
Gerard Lamp, Scholes.
All right, Gerard. Lampard, Scholes. Dan.
So is this your central midfielders?
Wingers are included in this as
well. Wingers are included. Sorry. No, I got to change mine.
Yeah, okay.
We got to do 5.
This will get a bit techie because when I'm saying midfielders, where would you class Salah? What would you class Salah?
He's a forward.
When you're thinking, why did it suddenly get techie when I said wingers are included?
Ronaldo, because I didn't realise that wingers
all coming.
Beckham's in it. Giggs
is Pires a forward or is he a
winger? I mean, he's a midfielder.
In the
what's Bergkamp?
Bergkamp's a forward.
Yeah, if they played in the 4-4-2 days, then they're midfielders.
Distinctly midfielders.
Yeah,
but this is Hall of Fame, so we don't really have to choose 3. There'll be probably like a lot more than.
So based on the fact that I've told you that wingers are included, you want 5, yeah?
I'll say 5, yeah, because
give me 2 more.
Beckham, Giggs and Ronaldo. That's the only ones that I think make sense.
Ronaldo's probably forward.
I believe, yeah.
Ronaldo's probably forward.
He's a forward.
Yeah.
Then that fucks up my whole list. Yeah, Ronaldo has to be 5th on mine then, if he's a forward.
Forget that.
I thought Ronaldo was in the wingers.
Just put him in midfield.
Okay, Ronaldo, Beck, Scholes, Lamps, Gerrard. Yeah.
Cool. Dan.
Oh, sorry, Giggs.
Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes, Giggs, Ronaldo.
So we're going wingers too. So I'd go Gerrard, Lampard. Was Beckham here for a long time?
Yeah.
I'll go Beckham too. He won loads.
10 years.
Scholes, Giggs. I'll just pick the United dude.
Cool. Lewis?
Wait, you think Ronaldo had a bigger impact than Beckham in the league?
You mean Beckham? Beckham was here for longer.
Yeah.
Ronaldo was quality for 3 years.
Yeah, he took some time to get started.
Yeah, well, you got to have Ronaldo in there.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I'm contentious on Stevie G.
Really?
Yeah, I shouldn't not on an ability basis, but I think when you with the sheer amount of people that are gonna be up for it in the midfielder section, I can't believe you guys haven't said Vieira.
That's what I was gonna say.
For me, he's a lock.
He won 2 Premier League titles.
He's a lock.
For Vieira, for me, has to be in it.
Yeah,
2 Premier League titles.
Yeah.
The only reason the only reason for me,
but it's about their influence on those titles as well.
The only reason I would.
This is why it gets interesting though. It's Hall of Fame, isn't it? And people value different things.
That's the only reason I would literally put
like
Gerrard in front of Vieira. If it was in terms of accolades, individual accolades, Gerrard is kind of above Vieira in that sense. But when it comes to winning the Prem, those kind of things, and you've put those into account, I'll say Vieira goes above Vieira.
Winning the Prem, those kind of things. What we're in it to do.
Yeah, but it's like Allen Iverson.
The actual objective.
Fam, it's like Allen Iverson in the league. Like, you're gonna remember AI more than you're gonna remember Draymond Green. You know
this is what I'm saying. I think
Vieira's not Draymond Green.
Yeah, but
Vieira's not Draymond Green. But I get the point.
But what I'm saying, when it comes to Hall of Fame, it's almost about players that you remember first, I think. And I think with Vieira, it was so condensed into that little period. Like, I know Vieira and Roy Keane had like an ongoing thing, but in terms of winning it, don't forget, you didn't really win it that much. I think United dominated for so long.
No,
so
not in the period Vieira was here.
What do you mean?
No, but in the memory.
I'm talking about in
memory.
I'm
When you think of like all these United guys are gonna get in literally because they were in that team.
Yeah, because they
And
won.
just won it like
They
4 or
won
5
so
times.
much. They won
And
so much.
It was like a 7-8 year period where they won it like 5-6 times.
Yeah.
And then Arsenal had a couple of titles within that. But obviously, as you're saying,
It was a great title, but it's
Yeah.
like, how do you compare to the quantity of wins these guys were picking up?
like Gerrard was banging from 2001
yeah,
to
we saw it.
11.
We saw it.
Yeah, like
We like 5 then.
I saw it. I saw highlights in that.
But you can't use age against us at one point, and then next minute.
Highlights in that. Come on.
So you said Ronaldo, Vieira.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at influence these teams had on great teams, these players had on great teams. Like, Gerrard was never part of a great Liverpool side.
You could argue the one where
Suarez,
In terms of Premier League and not
But that
winning
wasn't
it,
a good Gerrard, was it? Was that a
the
good
one where he
Gerrard?
played off. That was probably the best.
That's probably the best
one
Gerrard when he
where
got
played
21
off
What, the
goals.
one with
Yeah.
Suarez?
Yeah,
Oh,
the
the one with Torres.
And
Okay,
even
okay,
and
okay,
even that
okay.
season, like 30, he got like 10
He
plus
came close.
assists. He done a lot. So I get what you mean. He hasn't been like the team that was able to take us
Gerrard,
over
when you
the
think of
pinnacle.
the Premier League, Gerrard is one of
You think
the
of a
people.
Gerrard screamer. Like he's one of
Gerrard
the
is one of the people that is like
Undeniably.
inbuilt in the
Left
fabric
his
of the
stamp-
story.
He left his stamp
like
on the league.
when we
You
was
can't tell the Premier League story without talking about Steven Gerrard.
like
That's what I'm
if
saying.
you was to look back when we was the
I can think
best
of a
league in
few
the world.
stories that you can tell. Yeah,
What, winning
with
the title?
Gerrard. Yeah.
give me your guys.
Okay, so Lampard, Vieira, Gerrard, Ronaldo. I'm so reluctant to put Giggs in because
Hall of Fame.
I
you
think
have
now
to.
he's
I
gone the
know.
opposite way. I think he was overrated. Now he's become a bit underrated.
yeah, I would agree. And if you and it's very difficult to be part of a side that's won. How many titles did he win? Like 7, 8,
Giggs, maybe 10,
10.
maybe.
Yeah, Giggs was there from the beginning.
Yeah,
Day one.
from the early
He won
90s.
He won 13.
Even
even.
13
Yeah,
league
he
titles.
won a lot.
My
He won a
word.
lot.
Yeah.
Is it 13?
He won
Yeah, you
13.
have to
He won
put
a
Giggs
lot.
in there. Like
Yeah.
I don't
Like,
rate
just
Giggs.
sheer longevity. Like, I tried to type his name in and Giggs the rapper came up. Like,
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
he's not
then
even
he
bothered
was-
on
he's not
the
even the
web.
best Giggs anymore.
Was Giggs ever top 3 United players at any one point?
Not in my memory.
No, he was. I remember he was like before Beckham. He was the main guy in that whole when that
Like 92, 93?
yeah
them
when
years?
they started to come out. Giggs was the first guy that everyone was
He was
saying
the
is
first starlet, but I don't think he was ever like.
Because back then you still
I
had
mean, I
Cantona.
can't speak.
Football
on it.
was football.
If you're talking about early 90s, I can't.
You still had
speak on it with
Cantona, you still had
any-
Roy Keane.
Yeah, but what I'm
Or even
saying
Roy
is
Keane came late 90s, but I know what you're saying.
yeah, Giggs
No,
Giggs
he
was
there
the one.
early
Like so you have
95, no?
That's mid to late.
Late.
90s.
Oh, okay. I thought I only heard late.
Oh, no, I said mid.
Yeah.
So this is from my memory how it happened. Like that whole kind of crop came through. Giggs was the star of the crop above Scholes and all of them ones. Then obviously Beckham, just because of the kind of
Celebrity.
the celebrity of it, he kind of rose above Giggs, but it was always Giggs first. And then Scholes, everybody was like, don't remember, everyone was saying Scholes is mad underrated. So Scholes wasn't always like the gem.
It was
Giggs.
great. Scholes was more rated outside of this country.
Yeah,
And
100%.
then, like, on the continental and international stage, people would.
Fuck it, I'm putting Pires.
Yeah,
fuck you all.
it.
Wow.
We do what we
Let's
want.
wrap that up.
Yeah, we do what we want, man. All right, cool. And this is what we actually have. So top obviously is going to be Giggs with 80 points. Second is Gerrard with 69. Third, Lampard with 56. Fourth, Roy Keane with 44. Fifth, Beckham with 42. Sixth, Scholes with 41. Seventh, Vieira with 37. Eighth, Milner with
Hell no.
29.
He's matched what he's been in the Prem for a hot
Silva.
minute.
What, just because he's played like 900 games?
Yeah.
Yeah, you obviously
He's a vet, man.
You get a lot of marks for.
Seems to be a Premier League
appearances.
champion,
Nobody
innit?
said David Silva.
No.
Nah.
Hall of Fame.
Been here for a
I'll, put,
decade.
I'll even put Yaya
Been
Toure in
Yaya
front of
was
him.
Yaya.
Yeah, wasn't there for long.
But would you
8 years?
incorporate him in a Hall of
8
Fame?
years.
Yeah.
Swear.
He wasn't there for
Yeah.
8 years.
Yaya Toure.
He was there for like...
No, not
So-
so,
He was on the
8
bench
years.
for-
8
Nah.
years. Oh, he actually might have been. He came in
Yeah,
2010.
you
Yeah,
lot are bugging,
2017, 18.
You lot's concept of time is.
It's
flawed.
because those last 2 seasons on the Pep, he was
When
kind of
did
just
Yaya
there.
join?
like-
Because
Okay,
he was
hit
here
1,
from
2,
Mancini,
3,
from
4,
the
Yeah,
Mancini.
from
5,
2010.
6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Literally here for
Yeah,
8
yeah.
years.
Those
No
last 2
way.
years, I forgot he was here.
Last-
Silva here for 10 years.
Yeah, but Silva's not getting in.
Really?
I think they have to. If
about
how many?
Fabregas?
What's this Hall of Fame thing? Is it like how many people is it limited to?
I think every year it's probably.
Oh,
like,
no, I'm talking about in our discussion.
Oh,
He might
okay,
get in
okay,
the
okay.
future.
Yeah, but
What about
yeah,
Fabregas?
for you lot. What Fabregas is? He has 25 points.
Rare.
Yeah, he left, don't forget. He left to go to Barcelona.
2 Prems though.
Two friends.
Got to count for something. Yeah, Barris has got to count for something. I would have thought.
All right, cool. And then the same thing for defenders. Give me 3.
This is
Rio.
hard.
Interesting.
This is hard.
He had midfielders by themselves, and then he separated wingers
That
and
made
attacking
sense.
midfielders.
Oh.
Okay.
That's probably better than what I
Yeah,
had
yeah,
in
yeah.
mind.
But then for time.
Yeah, we'll just
time
yeah.
purposes.
Giggs was topping both, boy. Wingers
real?
and midfielders. Yeah. But yeah, defenders, I guess.
Just
His
centre
list will
backs.
probably be people like Steve May and Dennis Irwin, isn't it?
What would be your top 3 defenders?
Centre backs or full backs included as well.
Both.
Oh.
Ooh, that's tough.
yeah, because guys like Gary Neville.
G-Nev.
No, I'm not.
What would be your top 3? Forget what he's picked. What would be your top
I don't
3?
even have my own criteria. This is the thing. I don't know.
Yeah, because obviously some people, it's like, I would value just a player who may have been sick but didn't win stuff, a la Gerrard, over a guy who was not as good, but he was a consistent
I'm
winner.
trying not to put in coat
Yeah,
tailors. And a lot of those Man United players, I feel like were
Which ones are
coat tailors. Like people
Neville.
like Gary Neville. Like,
He's
why
a-
am I
he's a
putting
coat
Gary
Yeah, but I
Neville in
don't
a
think
Hall of
any of the
Fame?
ones you've mentioned up to Gary Neville have been coat tailors, though.
Who did I mention?
No, like the
yeah,
Giggses, the Beckhams, the Scholeses.
They won titles.
They're
Giggs
not
in his
coat tailors.
latter bit of the career. man,
Yeah,
coat
come on,
tailor.
coat tailing. That's the definition of coat tailing.
Yeah.
Coat tailed his
Kept
way
with
to a
brother.
PFA award or whatever it was.
I was going to say Colt Taylor's brother's work.
wow.
I think JT Rio is the first 2 kind of names that you
Yeah.
think of.
And then who'd be a third?
I'm trying to think of the other winning
Ashley
clubs.
Cole?
Ashley Cole.
I think Dennis Irwin's going to be in there for some reason.
Just who would
No,
you
no,
pick?
bruv.
Stop trying to tell us who these guys are picked.
It's not a game.
And tell us who-
I just think.
But
got-
who would you put in it?
You got Ashley Cole, maybe like a Sol Campbell.
I think that's the 3.
My top 3 would be JT, Rio, and Cole.
Yeah.
Because he done bits with Arsenal and Chelsea. So that would be my top 3. But I know it's like Nicky Butts and Dennis
No,
Irwin.
Butts
Nicky
and
Butt was a
midfielder.
midfielder, mate.
Oh,
Allow it.
Wow, how old are you, brother?
I don't know.
Hold on, I'm trying to find his defenders so you lot can just talk about yourselves while I look.
I'm trying to think of like any present day defenders that would have a shout.
Do you remember
Company.
Company had a run, but
I didn't play enough.
yeah, exactly. So obviously
I think
now
by the end his rep was kind of a bit exaggerated, to be honest.
100%.
he had 2 elite seasons, and then he was a linchpin in their team. So
How many titles did Evra win?
quite a few.
4.
So Evra's a shout.
What about?
He's not a first ballot
Ah,
Hall of
yeah.
Famer to
Yeah,
me, man.
he's not. So like when you're thinking about, I'm thinking about the teams that have won. So obviously the
That's where
Chelsea
you always
teams.
Start, yeah.
Yeah, the Chelsea teams. John Terry had a lot of partners, but I'll just take John Terry, and then Ashley Cole from the. But the rest of them like Carvalho and Gallas and all of them, those are just.
I thought Carvalho was quality.
He was, but
Carvalho,
I don't think Hall of Fame.
When you think
Not
of the great
necessarily
Chelsea
first
team,
ballot, like 5th ballot.
Weird one, but would you put Ledley King in the Hall of Fame?
no,
I saw some.
that's a sympathy one, man.
Yeah.
That is just based on pure emotion. Like, it's just
He never got
you can play it
injured.
twice a season.
He locked down Henri.
Yeah.
He never got injured and he locked down Henri.
Yeah, that one time.
I don't see. Here's the thing with memory. Like I don't remember how long Stan was playing for.
Nah, he didn't stay long. It was like
Stayed
2,
long.
3 years. I
Yeah,
think.
and then Fergie booted him
2,
out.
3 years of madness. But Fergie did put his hands up and admit, you know what?
Got it wrong.
I did an absolute
Yeah.
Madine, bro. I can't find his defenders.
But yeah, Sol Campbell will be outside of that top 3 for me.
Yeah. I agree.
Big Sol, yeah?
Yeah.
What about Adams? You think?
No, because Adams.
Come on, bruv.
Yeah.
Adams
He
had
was-
longevity,
yeah.
but he only won 1 Premier League title.
Yeah.
Was he even that good?
No, probably
Yeah.
not.
By the time the Premier League started, he was.
No,
Do you think he's as good as Gary Cahill?
probably
Is he
not.
like
No.
this?
No, I'm just asking. Do you think he's as good as Gary Cahill?
But I don't think Tony Adams is like a Premier League legend, is he? He's an Arsenal
Was he an
legend.
Arsenal legend?
He's an Arsenal legend. And
He-
Arsenal
he-
for the
he-
But
most
I
part.
don't hear it. You don't really get mentioned though. I feel like he's kind
Nah,
of
he
been
does.
forgotten.
Because Tony
Amongst the
Adams,
older lot, he
for the
does.
majority of his Arsenal
The older
career,
lot.
played, and he was part of a mid-table Arsenal team.
Okay.
Was he? He didn't win it. Nah, he wasn't there when you guys were winning.
He won
Division
2
Ones.
titles.
Yeah, so he won at least one.
He won 2
counts
titles,
in,
yeah.
yeah.
But that's when Wenger came. I think he won. No, he won an English title in like 91. But that was before Premier League started. So, but then that period up until like Wenger came, he was part of a mid-table Arsenal side. So
yeah, I guess what we associate legends.
actually,
with
he won 4. I think he won in '89 as well. Tony Adams.
4 titles. That's not bad, man.
But it's 2 of them weren't Premier League. So
Yeah, so I guess for that you wouldn't put him in the Premier League great list. I can find every position apart from his
who have you got like goalkeepers?
goalkeepers. Okay, yeah, I could.
Obviously Schmeichel.
Yeah, actually, the
Seaman.
top of the goalkeepers is Czech.
Check. Yeah, it's gonna be
Makes
check.
sense.
44.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got far and away the most clean sheets.
Oh.
He's got 202. The next closest is David James with 169. Second is then Schmeichel with 37. Third, Joe Hart. 33.
How's he got there?
Joe Hart's got 340 appearances, 4 Golden Gloves, 2 titles, 2 Teams of the Year. It adds
Mad.
up. Next is Seaman. I don't hear him get mentioned much either.
Seaman should be though.
But I don't hear you lot ever really talk about him. He's another player I don't.
It's because Lehman.
Who?
When Lehman came
Arsenal?
through, just
Yeah.
but
No,
like,
he's
you
widely
don't talk
considered
about-
Arsenal's best ever goalkeeper.
But you don't talk about him though, like.
It was a long time ago, I think. It's just
But
a long
he
time
was
ago.
part of a team where he was like probably our 9th or 10th best player.
Okay, fair enough.
So
And then after him, it's Van der
it's
Sar.
like talking about fucking
Matic.
Matip or yeah.
Matip won the Champions League, bro.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's
Yeah,
like
oh my
talking
God.
about him, innit? You know how fucking
So
bearable,
defensive.
man.
Like we like him. Like
So defensive.
Yeah, and I like David Seaman. I'm just saying, on the list of players,
Yeah,
it's quite,
I hear
you know,
you, I
it's
hear
low
you.
There's a lot of
down.
players you're gonna speak about before you speak about him. Yeah, I can't find your defenders list, Rob. So, what do you not actually think of the Hall of Fame idea?
It's a good idea, but I just want to see the All-Star game.
Yeah, the criteria. Yeah.
I think it's too late, man.
Why?
Like they took. I think like yeah, it's good because there's, for example, the NBA with the NBA they've kind of had a lot of time to like iron out the Kendrick Perkins who get nominated and those type of guys. But the Prem is kind of like, what's it been 22 years?
Why
Like,
can't you just?
there's so much that we probably won't take into account, and some fans will get like offended with some people that shouldn't be there. And 22 years is a lot to look back on and think, yeah, this player deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. This one, and especially the time it would take to induct people as well.
I would have liked to see how the NBA and the NFL started it though.
They
Like-
started it really early, so
Did they?
in like night.
Oh, like close to.
Because
when
you've
it
got to
Yeah,
allow
close to it,
players to become
Yeah.
legends, isn't it? You got to allow players to become
So I
legends.
think after 22 years, the revisionism that they might have might might be a bit.
It's a bit too far.
And it might take a bit long. For example, Ronaldo definitely should be in the Hall of Fame, but he's going to be below a lot of wingers that actually he's not on the wingers list, but might be below a lot of midfielders that will probably be above him because they've.
I like it because I think that it brings the avenue of all of the other stuff that these sports have in terms of like like the All-Star games and all that type of stuff. And I'm like, well, yeah.
And also with the Premier League, I feel like it's quite because of the nature of the way we win it and the top fours and stuff. It's quite biased towards the big teams because, like, for example, I don't know how like Mark Viduka, he should definitely be in the Hall of
You
Fame.
keep hearing everyone should definitely be in. I don't think.
Yeah,
you
the
quite
Premier League
understand-
legends.
I don't think you
The
quite
Premier League
understand
legends.
the Hall of Fame concept.
Okay, so let's.
I'm definitely going off the
I
NBA,
like that
NFL
shout,
stuff
though.
because
So before we wrap it
yeah.
up, why not do that? Like everyone say
Okay,
like
this will be our
a
last thing because I went to look at the listeners' questions
Oh,
and they were
okay.
just long and one was about the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
So
okay.
we'll wrap
Yeah.
up talking about. I want you guys to give me 5 players each.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, who didn't play for one of the big clubs, so they didn't necessarily win the league, but they'd be on your first ballot for the Hall
I'm
of
just
Fame.
trying to
Thinking
think of all
about
the
cult
players.
heroes, the
Yeah,
Canio,
like you know what I mean, like them and
the
their
Canio.
So-
I'm also
because
trying
you-
to think of players who gave me a really bad day.
Because you came up with this idea, I'm gonna let you shoot first, Julian.
It's tough
5
because
players each is hard.
it's
Okay,
hard.
okay, let's not say 5 players each. Let's
Just
say
who
as a
you think
group.
of.
Okay.
It's hard because like players like, for example,
Vinicius scored.
Gareth Barry. He's won a Prem, but Aston Villa
No,
time.
he's not. Sorry.
But he's longevity, long serving. That's what I'm saying.
Longevity, he's probably played
So many games that he has to be considered in that.
He's probably got the appearance record. He has got the
Yeah.
appearance
So I'm saying that players like that have
That's
to
a
be
good shout.
considered.
That's a good shout.
That's a good shout to start off. Who have you got, Dan?
I'm thinking about all of these guys that came in. So I'm thinking about guys like Ravanelli, but that might be old. And it like these guys came and had a period, but they might not deserve to be in there. But I'm thinking about these type of players, like these cult heroes, like the Canio that came through. Zola. But Zola plays for a top team. I don't know. You're kind of taking a
No, but he
Chelsea
didn't win a
wasn't
Prem
a
and
top
stuff
team
like
then,
and stuff.
man.
He didn't win a Prem.
You
But he
won
won
a top team then.
Matt Le Tissier.
Matt Le Tissier.
Yeah, Matt Le Tissier
You done
definitely
your
won.
Googles and you come back with it.
No. I
He was
just looked
against
at top goal scorers. I
No,
looked at
Matt
top
Le
goal
Tissier
scorers.
Letitia is
definitely
not a bad shout
Le
either.
Tissier's a good one.
Who else we got? You mentioned Mark Viduka. Do you want to put your weight behind
No,
that?
but Robbie Keane's a good one. And
Yeah,
Defoe.
yeah.
So which
Defoe,
one?
Defoe.
You can have one.
Bruv, why can't we brainstorming?
I think
Yeah.
Defoe's in the top 10, I think, of top goal scorers.
Yeah.
Defoe, Robbie Keane, Defoe, Robbie Keane, Gareth Barry, and who's the other player you said? Viduka. Give me one defender.
A defender that's a cult hero.
It's a difficult position.
Yeah.
You know what?
Because
Come to think of it, like a lot of Spurs players. have a
Ivan
shout.
Campo.
Yes.
Yeah.
JJ Okocha?
Yeah.
What about like Alderweireld, Vertonghen? They've been in the Prem for like 10 years. Like they're worth a shout.
Do you remember
It's true.
Daniel Van Boyton?
Yeah.
He would score bare goals.
He was a
like,
sick on the old football manager.
Yeah.
Yeah?
He was
Championship
It's bare
manager,
man
you
that
know.
could.
Okay, so from what I've gotten from your list, Defoe, Robbie Keane, Mark Viduka, Daniel Van Boyton,
And Matt Le Tissier.
Matt Le Tissier, and Gareth Barry.
There's a lot of Spurs players.
It's a pretty poor attempt, I think.
That
Put
would
me
be
on the
they-
spot.
they-
You
yeah.
asked me to
There's
riff.
bare man like
Don't
Harry-
ask me to
Harry
riff
Kane,
and then
Harry-
critique.
Harry-
Bruv, you haven't even done yours. Do Lewis next.
What? My what?
Okay, did we do it as a group?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
And then you blame me for coming up with a shit list.
I didn't think you was blaming
Okay,
me at
cool.
all.
Darren Huckabee.
Yeah,
Huckabee, that's a good one.
We'll discuss it in the comments throughout the week, and we'll see what our listeners come up with. But we'll try and come up with a definitive first ballot Hall of Fame tweet on the account. So with that being said, thanks for coming. Thanks, Julian,
Oh man,
for
it's
being
nice.
a Liverpool fan to finally brave the bright lights after a loss. You probably never thought it would happen again.
No, I did.
You did.
No,
Yeah?
I did.
Dan, keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks, bro.
Lewis, always nice. Just remember your etiquette next time, yeah? All right, nice one. All right, peace.
Alright, cool.
Peace.
Cheers. Did that go on for long?